All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you're new. Appreciate you guys joining me today and waiting patiently for the intro to finish up. I have to first and foremost give a shout out and thank you to Big Cat's Corner, who came in and dropped a member gift before the show even went live, but also dropped a super chat and said, "Happy Sunday, y'all. Keep up the great content, MBG. Watching as I cook my breakfast steak." Well, breakfast steak sounds delicious. I actually just had some grilled chicken, actually, a grilled chicken breast. But yeah, I love steak, dude. Steak and eggs. Let's go. But Big Cat's Corner, thank you so much for that, man. I appreciate the generosity and showing support before we even go live. The viewership might be a little weird today because, well, at least for me, it was daylight savings. So right now, I think for a lot of people around the world, I'm streaming at a different time than I normally would on Sunday. So, yeah, so hopefully people will get notified. Yeah, it's probably coming off a little bit earlier. Um, you know, twice a year, it always, it always happens, man. So I'm kind of used to it at this point, but, Ghetto God, what's up, man? Uh, Mini Tom, Lady Gamer, just seeing who's here. Yeah, we have some stuff to talk about. Remember when consoles worked and you also paid less? No need to upgrade and updates. True. Yeah, true. I do remember. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about the next gen consoles again because there's just a lot of info, man. There's a lot of stuff that's been coming out, and I put out a tweet yesterday that really made some people angry, and I don't know why it's making them so angry. Uh, but we'll discuss that. Whiskey Gaming, what's up, man? Ray, you love tech, Ray Chi. Yeah. Shout out to Sneakers SO for already destroying all their hopes and dreams, dude. Listen. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. I posted it on Twitter. I ended up deleting it because I feel like it was getting in the way of my other tweet. Let me see if I can find it. There's this video clip. Hold on. There was this video clip from Kyle Bozeman. I did have it saved on my phone. I didn't have it saved on on my PC. But basically, he in like 2 minutes perfectly explained why it's weird to see people getting hyped for Project Helix. I mean, I don't want to come off as like a buzzkill or anything. Oh, shit, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Hold on, I got one more thing I can try here. Just give me 1 sec. All right, yeah. God damn it. I knew I should have kept it up. That post. I'll see if I can just find it in the Kyle Bozeman video anyway. All right. Sorry, I'm already getting distracted here. But did Gaming Survivor and Rich Rod ever come back? I don't know. I mean, they may be watching. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if they're going for good or not. They're still welcome. They're definitely welcome. You're watching me from 2019? Well, that's kind of crazy. Did I beat RE9 on Insanity yet? No, I did not. I did beat the game though. I'm not going to spoil anything, but what a fantastic game, dude. Yeah, Resident Evil 9, great game. Easily one of the best Resident Evil games ever made. Hands down. Loved it. I'm not sure if I'm going to try to get the platinum yet or not. I mean, I might. Still happy with my PS5 Pro and OG PS5. They're always watching. Yeah, they're watching in the shadows. What happened? Well, Rich Rod and Gaming Survivor, they got a little too rambunctious. Things got a little out of hand. Some people were getting upset, so we had to tamp it down a bit. There's co-op coming. Wait, Perfect Image. What are you talking about? Absolute 40s. What's up, man? Is 2026 the last year for great games? I think it really. Why do you think it's the last year for great games? That is weird. Unknown. Yeah, that's very strange. I don't know. There's always weird stuff going on, man. I can't quite figure it out. But yeah, another thing we're going to talk about here is the fact that the PlayStation 6, according to Moore's Law, is dead. Right now I'd say the most prominent leaker for PlayStation hardware and the PlayStation 6. He's saying this console's not getting delayed. He's saying the absolute most it would get delayed is like early 2028, which by that point it's like a couple months, like 3 months or something, 4 months. And it's interesting to see people's reactions to this. You don't think Sony should rush the PS6? Well, that's the thing. They're not really rushing it per se. It's more along the lines of like they're just sticking to the plan. But we'll talk about that. All right, guys, do me a favor. All right, if you enjoy the streams, if you enjoy the show, make sure you take a moment and please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate that. It lets me know you enjoy the streams and it helps out quite a bit. Again, I just want to continue to remind people that the schedule across the channel, probably for another week, maybe two. I'll have to see how long it's going to be, but still going to be a little bit all over the place. I'm trying my best to continue to put videos out as consistently as I can. I'm trying my best to keep doing streams as consistently as I can. So I thank you guys for bearing with me. And, obviously when things are settled down, I'll be sure to let you know. So we'll get on a, much more consistent schedule that you can anticipate. Delaying the console won't make it more powerful. The hardware is already designed. Well, that's the idea, right? Is if Sony delays the PlayStation 6, they're just going to be sitting with a stockpile of PlayStation 6 consoles just sitting there. And there are so many reasons why that would be maybe a bad decision or just a very, very unwise decision for Sony. You're about to say, please keep dreaming. All right, I'm going to bring something up real quick. Where is the Kyle Bozeman video? Okay, hold on. So I'm not going to watch his whole video. Hold on. All right. I'm going to bring this video clip up. This is from Kyle Bozeman's latest video. Hold on one sec. And the reason why I want to bring this up, honestly, is because I feel like he perfectly, because I got a lot of flack, man. All right, like we've been talking a little bit about the Xbox Helix or whatever. MBG, it takes nothing for people to get crunk on Twitter. You get roasted for stating facts. I know. And that's why I want to play this video clip, because I think Kyle Bozeman perfectly nailed why it is like, because people were asking me, they're like, what is it with you, MBG, and like caring so much if people are excited for this, or if they like it. And it's not that I want people to not have any excitement at all or interest. I don't expect them to not have any interest. But it's like, bro, I have a very specific reason why it's frustrating, and it's because they're doing the same thing. They're running the exact same play, and I'm like, there ain't no way people are actually going to come out here and try to hype this when they're running the same play that they've ran for the last like 13, 14 years. And we've seen the outcome of this play every time. Sleepy Dad says, "Rip to the $2 King, Rich Rod, and GS will be missed." Bro, I'm fairly certain at least one of them will be back. I don't even know why Rich Rod left. Like, I can understand Gaming Survivor because things were getting heated, and people were kind of going at him, and there was he was getting kind of crazy. But Rich Rod, I don't know why he left. he retires and then he unretires. But like I said, they're always welcome on the channel, man. There's absolutely no hard feelings. They're cool dudes. I just got to be careful. I got to keep in mind that people are trying to tune in and feel like they can, like we're not trying to get crazy here. I guess I'll have to like issue a warning if we ever start to get crazy or whatever. Saving up your Best Buy points and get the PS6 a bit cheaper. Well, yeah. So let's watch this clip. It's not too long. It's like 2 minutes.
PC integration is not surprising news. That has been rumored and heavily implied.
Delivering you an Xbox experience not locked to a single store or tied to one device.
Whoa, remember Sarah Bond? That's a blast from the past. Anyway, I'm not surprised that it will lead in performance either. I'm not even surprised that they're still going through with what will most assuredly be another failed project. What I am surprised by is that they're going with the same old marketing trick again.
Let me tell you, man, I don't think Kyle Bozeman gets enough credit. He doesn't get enough credit because he's calling out stuff that is like, yes. There's not enough people acknowledging this. And he's doing it very calmly, very chill, but he's also pretty funny.
Basically, nobody sells you on the promise of a project like Xbox. Sure, there was Project Natal. That was dumb. That was a dumb thing.
Natal is the current code name for a revolutionary new way to play, where the only experience you need is life experience.
But then there was also something called Project Scorpio. See, back in 2016, when it was pretty clear that the Xbox One was not going to compete with the PlayStation 4, hope was renewed with the announcement of Project Scorpio. If you were worried about the future of Xbox, you had to stop immediately because Microsoft listened.
This product that we're announcing today is absolutely the culmination of all of your feedback.
This console is 100% for you guys. We read the articles, we read the reviews. It's the We Heard You console.
Okay, so that would later be officially renamed Xbox One X, which is obviously plainly less cool than Project Scorpio. However, for the people who bought in, for the true believers, the green bloods, there was a special Project Scorpio edition of the Xbox One X. And buddy, you better pre-order today before it's gone forever. That trailer in particular is fun to go back to because it's doing this thing where it is almost reverentially using these clips of Phil Spencer, who is just talking, trying to make this more like an event, like it's a big deal. This is serious.
2 years ago when we started on this journey, you told us you wanted power.
Again, I'm saying that it was never Xbox fans' fault that they loved Phil Spencer so much. Marketing was using his quotes the same way Nike does in Michael Jordan commercials.
The most powerful console ever made.
Just 3 years after that highly successful Project Scorpio reveal, it was already time for the reveal of a new project, Project Scarlet. And yeah, they said, let's just do that same thing we did 3 years ago.
This is the most immersive console experience ever.
And something I found really funny about watching that whole video again is you might remember just last week, I was looking at Asha Sharma's messaging about the return of Xbox and what that meant. And she says, yeah, Xbox is PC, mobile, and cloud, but it starts with console. And she used that same language in the Windows Central interview, starting with console. All right, so here's how Xbox was talking almost 7 years ago. Here's the first thing they say.
When we think about the future of gaming, it's not just PC, it's not just console, it's not just mobile. It's really all of the above.
Okay.
The games you want with the people you want on the devices that you want.
And for us, that starts with our next generation console.
Phew. So that's what's so crazy about this. Nothing has changed. When Asha Sharma says Xbox is back, apparently she just meant back to 2019. And what is so confusing about it is that it's not worth going back to. Those were not glory days. Project Scorpio didn't work. Project Scarlet did not work. But what the heck, everyone? Here's Project Helix. Please retweet. So let's talk about something that...
Thank you. Thank you. I had to just like let that play out because he said it perfectly, man. That's the whole thing here. Is it's not that I'm trying to kill anybody's hype purposely because it's like, how dare you be hyped? And, you know, no, the Xbox isn't allowed to have, you know, a good product or anything like that. It's not that. It's just, guys, we've been down this road not once, not twice, damn near 3 times at this point. And, you know, it's painful to see, like, even now people are taking their early specs of Project Helix and the PlayStation 6, and I'm already seeing I'm seeing them do it again, man. They're like, this is going to be the most powerful console, and I'm like, you can't be serious. Like, it just gets to a point where, like, I don't know what to tell people. But listen, the whole reason I'm even talking about this, and the reason I showed that clip and I'm bringing any of this up, is because, you know, I put out a post. We have Sneakers SO, a pretty reputable Xbox leaker, somebody who has accurately put stuff out, and it's wild. It's wild, man. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised with the way the internet works these days. But the thing is, he's revealing a bunch of key details about Project Helix, and they don't sound good, most of them. Like, they pretty much, if what he's saying is true, it pretty much confirms that this is Microsoft's we're getting out of the console business console. We're done. And I think for a lot of us, we kind of already understood that. You're saying Sneakers is wrong here. Microsoft killed UWP 5 years ago. Well, it's not to say that he's, you know, going to have a perfect track record. But the point is, I see people, I'm not trying to like come off as too defensive here, but it's like his track record is way better than like 90% of other leakers. Right? And like other people leaking stuff about Xbox. His track record is very strong. He hasn't been perfect, you know, no leaker has a 100% track record. But here's the important thing. People who are getting upset at what he's saying are in denial. And that's why I'm highlighting this, because it's like, if we can just understand what's happening here, because I've been through this. Like, this is the exact same repeat situation that we went through with Xbox games being rumored to come to PS5. I don't know if you guys remember that. I remember it clear as day. I remember he was the first person months before anybody was saying anything. And he laid it all out. He laid out like the next 6 months. You know, where he's like, just so you know, they're going to go multi-platform. It's going to start with a few, then they're going to be bringing everything. And it's because they're pivoting to making their business more about publishing games. And part of that means their games are going to PlayStation. And I know that for a lot of people, it's easy to forget because we're talking about something that happened a year ago. We're talking about something that happened 2 years ago. But I guess because of how close to all this I am, I don't forget. And I will tell you that when these rumors first started coming out, everybody laughed. People laughed and they clowned on me. They clowned on anybody who thought, yeah, they might be getting ready to do this. I remember I got clowned on for claiming Doom would come to PS5. I was a port beggar, apparently. And I remember there was just this massive wave of denial. And I understood it. I gave it the time of day because I'm like, yeah, maybe this is just a load of crap. You know, like why would Microsoft just suddenly announce they're bringing all their games? Yeah, the latest one, the latest Doom Eternal. I don't even think it was announced at the time. Or Dark Ages. And I remember saying, like, I remember it was November 2023. I'm like, don't be surprised if they bring the next Doom to PS5, because why wouldn't, like, they'll make more money, and we're hearing that they're trying to go more multiplat. But I remember, like, people were in such denial, and again, it was understandable because it's like, yeah, it is pretty crazy, right? It's pretty crazy to imagine that Microsoft is going to just bring their games to the competition's console. It feels like that would be them basically giving up. And then they did, but they only started with just 4. And people like me still got clowned on when I'm like, don't believe that shit for a second. Like, I lost it. I was like, you got to be an idiot to believe what Phil Spencer just said. And it turns out there were a lot of idiots that believed it. And they were, their idiocy was revealed when it's like, yeah, no, he absolutely didn't mean 4. He meant everything, dude. Like, that should have been obvious. The floodgates are opening. And, I'm going down memory lane here because I'm seeing it happen again with this new Project Helix, where it's like, guys, there's nothing wrong with being excited for this thing, as long as you know what you're getting excited for. And I'm already seeing the same people. They're approaching it like, did you guys see that Jeff Keighley got, by the way, this was some funny shit, bro. Jeff Keighley was raging. Did you see that Jeff Keighley got community noted because he called it a PC? What did he do here? Let me see if I can bring it up. Oh, let me see if I can bring this up on screen. This shit was so funny to me. I couldn't believe this. He got community noted. That's so funny. He's not wrong though, but he still got community noted. He got people so upset they were like, "We're community noting this bitch." Oh, let me see if it'll come up here. Look at this, dude. Look at this. This is how mad they are. Dude, this is how mad they are. Where Jeff Keighley said Xbox has announced that Project Helix is the code name for the next generation PC-based Xbox hardware device. And it says the readers added context that people might want to know. The Xbox CEO has officially stated that the next-gen Xbox is a console. The statement is as follows: great start to the morning with Team Xbox, where we talked about our commitment to the return of Xbox, including Project Helix, the code name for our next-generation console. And people are also pointing out that Jeff Keighley, that he, well, I don't know if it was Jeff Keighley, but that people, when the Steam machine was announced, people were trying to call it more of a console than a PC. And yeah, that's true. That's something we have to pay attention to. But this shit's so funny to me because this is what I'm talking about. Where it's like, if everything we know about this console is true, this is a PC. This is a PC. Like, it's going to turn out to be that Jeff isn't wrong. And you know what's crazy? I would rather take my chances with what Jeff's saying here. I don't believe the Xbox CEO. I don't believe this person at all. I don't believe a single fucking word any marketer at Microsoft has to say about anything. They're compulsive liars. Phil Spencer lied to you for like 14 years straight, and you get somebody new in here that's basically regurgitating the exact same lies, and people are like, yeah, this is different. Like, no, it's not. Not at all. That's what's frustrating here. Is it's like, why are people getting mad at Jeff Keighley for refusing to call it a console? This shit is shipping with Windows 11 and fucking Copilot. Why are you getting mad? I'll tell you why they're getting mad. Because they're in denial. They refuse to accept that Microsoft is done, bro. They refuse to accept that Microsoft decided they wanted to buy publishers to get bigger into publishing, and that the console business is in the trunk. It's in the trunk, dude. It's a wrap. Everybody knows this. Like, I feel, apparently everybody doesn't know this, but it's like, come on. Like, you guys are really going to fall for this again? We're really going to go down this road again, where it's like, we got to believe what Microsoft says, guys. We got to believe. Like, I have, like, I respect the Xbox player. I respect the Xbox player that calls this what it is. This is Microsoft exiting the console space in favor of PC. And I'm okay with that. I'm excited for that. I'll still get backwards compatibility, and my library will come with me. Thank you. Yes, that's okay. Like, it's okay because you're not trying to create something again that shouldn't exist. Let them hope. Listen, that's the thing. It ruins the conversations, man. Where it's like, we're getting, and I'm going to go over this next, we're getting really good information, in my opinion. We're getting really good information, in my opinion, on the next Xbox. And people are freaking the fuck out on me. They're freaking out on me because they're like, no. And I'm like, bro, you're freaking out because you're in denial. Stop. Like, we've already did this. We literally just did this with their games coming to PS5. Stop. Let's just go over it. I don't know why I'm ranting. I'm ranting. It's too early to be ranting, bro. I don't get why this matters if they call it, why it matters if they call it a console. To be honest, I don't think it does that much. What matters is that if somebody decides to call it a PC, that they get community noted. That's what matters. It doesn't matter if they want to call it this is a Windows 11 device, a full bore Windows device that you're seeing people get community noted if they call it a PC. And it's like, okay. Is PC bad? No. The device itself is perfectly fine. I want to make it clear. My beef is not with the device. I think Project Helix is just fine. Like, if anything, I think it's actually very good that Microsoft is offering this. I think that even if this thing only sells like 6 million units, I think that's good because them offering something as an exit, like this is our final hardware that we're doing, but we want to make sure to give you everything we possibly can. All bases are covered. I think that's a good thing for Xbox players because the alternative is we're just leaving and you're not getting anything. And that's objectively worse on every level. That's the absolute worst outcome. He got community noted because the way he described it, and he had to say it is a console hybrid, not a PC hybrid. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me go back for a second, though. I didn't get to check what... Let's see. What does a PC-based Xbox hardware device even mean? You mean console, right? Because she said console. Or is this another High Guard moment? Dude, yeah, that's the worst part. This came, like, shortly after High Guard. Jeez, man. No one's going to be happy about the price. So don't we call that a PC, or am I missing something? It's basically a pre-built PC. And this is the best part, where like people are calling Jeff Keighley out because like he's like a PlayStation spokesperson. He doesn't like Xbox, and it's like, okay, guys, yep, that's what it is. That's definitely what it is. I'm sorry, shit's too good. It's too good, man. All right, let me go back here. All right, so if we go over the news, though. I'm sorry. Freaking eyelash. Is it confirmed that you can change the OS on the Helix? No. Everything that we've covered, both good and bad, has not been officially confirmed except for one thing, and that is that you can play your PC games on this device, and that it is Windows-based. Those two things have been officially confirmed by Microsoft. It's a Windows device, and you can play your PC games and other storefronts. So 3 things. Sorry. So a lot of what we're about to cover here is already confirmed. I did finish RE9. I chose, I guess, what you could call the bad ending, Josh, the first time, which I was utterly shocked by. And that's all I'll say. All right. Yeah, that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy, dude. I couldn't believe that. But we can't talk about it here. We can't talk about it here. Michael, what's up, man? He's calling you all the beautiful people. We are beautiful. Boss is beautiful. Boss with a bandana and a mullet is beautiful. Wait, what's just in? Hold on. So, I said reliable Xbox leaker Sneaker SO. He was the first person to confirm Microsoft was going multi-platform months before anybody else. By the way, dude, here's the best part. If I were to scroll down and show you the replies that I've got from people, do you know how many people are like, he just got one thing right? Sneaker SO just got one thing right. He just made a good guess. And it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. I love it. I love when people try to dunk on me as if I have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's like, bro, Sneaker SO has been out here leaking stuff about Microsoft since 2012. Okay? This was like one of the first people to inform everybody what Microsoft was doing with the Xbox One, with the DRM and shit. People were asking Grok, by the way. They were like, Grok, is Sneaker SO actually reliable? And Grok was like, yeah, he has a really good track record. Not perfect, but very, very good for Xbox and Microsoft. And I'm like, it's who was it earlier that said, like, you can present facts to people and they still will deny it on Twitter? You're absolutely correct. Because they don't like that I'm posting this. And it's like, bro, I don't care whether you like it or not. You know? Don't show the comments, please. Yeah, they were pulling out an old tweet of mine. And just one screenshot where I was saying, yo, Sneaker SO said that that Microsoft might be canceling their console. And it's crazy because it's like, oh yeah, you know, that's what Sneaker SO said, so he's completely wrong. And doesn't and if you go back and you read the entire NeoGAF form of what he typed up, he was saying he wouldn't be surprised ultimately, like hardware might be off the table, but the big thing that he leaked, and this is true, seemingly, the big thing he leaked is that there were plans. Phil Spencer had a plan to do a regular console, like a full-blown follow-up to the Series X, and that like never got off the table. Like that never got up and running. And instead, it ended up becoming and morphing into this hybrid Windows device, you know, PC type device. That was the big thing that he was communicating, but he also did add to that yeah, like the hardware might end up getting canceled. And that became the big talking point and the big headline that everybody ran with, myself included. But that's what's funny, man, is it's like people see that and they ignore everything else. They ignore everything else as if it didn't happen. And this person like didn't leak a bunch of other shit. It's like, whatever, bro. And all right, well, let's go over it here. I've been ranting long enough. Says, so again, this is from Sneaker SO. This is like a rundown of all the stuff he talked about on NeoGAF. He said new Xbox CEO Asha Sharma could not cancel this device due to the high R&D costs that they already spent, which makes sense. This thing is so far along, to cancel it now would be like probably not a good idea. He also confirms, again, something that we pretty much knew, that it will be very expensive. It's being made for a very niche audience. Again, I don't know why people think this isn't true. You know, I think that there are a lot of people who want to believe that Project Helix is just an Xbox console. And like it's a Series X and an Xbox One. But in reality, it's like, if you look at the leaked APU, man, it is not. It is not that. It is clearly something beyond that. It's like a full-on fucking high-end PC, man. PS on the Brain, you're saying people like Maximilian Dude and Asmon been saying PlayStation and Xbox have basically been PCs from PS4 and Xbone. Millions watch their content and believe them. I mean, from the perspective of they're using x86 architecture and they are getting closer and closer to being PCs, they're not wrong. But it's just that, like, I don't know, man. We're still at this point, though, where if Microsoft is going to be the first one, maybe the only one of the big three to be like, we're going all in with, it's like, it's a PC, you know, with backwards compatibility for Xbox games. You know, I still think, considering PlayStation and Nintendo are going to be completely removed from that, and how big and prominent PlayStation and Nintendo are, that it's still important to not just lump everything in together. That's why with like the Steam Machine, right, it would be inappropriate to just call the Steam Machine a console. You know, you can't, because it's like, okay, well, what is it doing similar to? Is it doing the same thing that the PlayStation hardware is doing and that the Nintendo hardware is doing? It's like, no, it's completely open. You know, it's completely open. You can install, you know, Windows on it. I feel like that's important because, well, frankly, because Sony and Nintendo are in no way, shape, or form ever going to embrace that. And as long as they're not going to embrace that, as long as they're as prominent as they are, you know, there's going to be a clear differentiation between PC gaming and console gaming. But yeah, there are similarities, and there's nothing wrong with acknowledging those similarities. At least I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But the next thing he says is, it is a PC that uses the Windows full screen experience. Again, this already exists on the Xbox ROG Ally. You know? He says, now this is the big one. This is the big one that, if he's right about this, this is going to devastate Xbox players. He said developers are making games for the Windows Store now, which I guess isn't totally untrue. Like, they kind of already do that to a degree. But if you read what he's saying, he's basically saying that developers starting with Helix are not going to be, like, there isn't going to be like the Xbox version of things anymore. And if you do develop, here's the important part. If you develop, like, let me think of an example. Okay. So people are talking about GTA 6 with this game, or with this console, right? They're talking about GTA 6 and they're like, GTA 6 is going to launch on, you know, Project Helix, and it's going to be the best version. It's like, I would hold your horses on that. And we have Mustafa coming in, renewing their membership. Mustafa, thank you so much for that, buddy. Wait. Okay. I got lost for a second there. Mustafa, thank you for that. That I will add that to the counter here.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you guys who are recurring members. Really appreciate that. Can't do it without you. Yeah, if you guys want to support the channel, consider becoming a member, gifting memberships, super chats, direct donations, all that stuff. It really helps. Let me bring this back up here. Thank you, Mustafa. you know, people are basically saying like Project Helix is going to get the best version of GTA 6. And I'm like, dude, I don't think you guys know what Microsoft is planning here. This is why I feel like people are falling for it. Like they haven't been paying attention. Wasn't this already known with Microsoft licensing hardware? A lot of this, yeah, a lot. That's the crazy part, man. A lot of this is already known, but it just seems like people are only now starting to pay attention to it because Microsoft officially announced Project Helix. And I'm running into a lot of people that are like, no. And I'm like, oh my God. All right. Like, bro, I feel like Microsoft is trying to take advantage of that. I cannot blame them. Microsoft is doing what they need to do. If Microsoft can get people to think that, yes, this is a console. Yes, you might want to buy this over the PlayStation 6. That's going to help them. But there are reality checks that are coming very soon for these people that I'm just trying to let you know, and Sneakers SO and many other people out here are just trying to let you know. Like, this is not going to be exactly what like some people clearly are hoping it to be. I literally had somebody say to me yesterday, they're like, what do you know, MBG? They might have like, you know, one PC version and one console version that they're going to sell for $600. And I'm like, it's just like I get frustrated because it's like I know why you said that, because Microsoft somehow is still letting you think that this is what they're doing, and it's like that's not what they're doing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm always banging my head against the wall with this stuff. But yes, you're not wrong. Most of the stuff is kind of already known. Project Nervous Investor. Oh my God. But this is the big thing here. GTA 6, everything we know about Project Helix, until the PC version of GTA 6 is announced and released, until that's released, if you buy Project Helix and you go to play GTA 6, you're playing the Series X version. That's, as far as I'm aware, that's what we're looking. You see what I'm saying? Like, if, let's say this is just called Xbox Helix, Rockstar Games is not going to be able to develop a Xbox Helix version of GTA 6. They're going to have the option between you can make a version for the Series X and S, or you can make a PC version, which would be the Windows Store, Steam, Epic Game Store, etc. That's what I think people don't realize yet. And that's like to me, that's the most important thing here, that I think like Xbox players kind of don't realize. Like, Microsoft is going to let you bring your library with you, which is great. That's, I mean, goddamn, you would hope so, right? Your Xbox One versions, your Xbox Series versions, your Xbox 360 games from back compat. That's huge. That's big. Like, that's critical. But that's it. There are no more Xbox versions unless developers going into 2028, 2029, 2030 decide they still want to make Series X and S versions. And they might. I don't think it's going to disappear immediately. But there's this kind of, I think, this misunderstanding that people had this idea where it's like, oh, I can't wait to play the Xbox Helix version of GTA 6. That's going to be the most powerful version. And it's like, well, yeah, you're talking about the PC version. And we don't know when that's coming. It'll come eventually. We don't know when. And you'll have to probably boot it up on, the Windows Store or Steam. But there is no, do you get what I'm saying? Like there is no more like dedicated Xbox development environment. That seemingly ends with Xbox Series X and S. And PS on the Brain, you're saying, unless it has a pro-style PSSR built in for upscaling. Microsoft does have something, apparently. They do have something. And yeah, that could start to compete on that, in that sense, with the PS5 Pro. But it's just the fact that like I guess the closest way I could describe this is like, imagine if Sony came out with a PlayStation 6 and it's like, you know, here's the the PC version of GTA 6 is released, and it's like, is there a PS6 version? It's like, no, there is no PS6 version. There's just you could play the PC version on your PS6. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's making sense. But he says there's no native OS. It's now Microsoft's universal Windows platform. Native Xbox versions are done. Access to your library of games is maintained through backwards compatibility. And this is interesting. He says it's essentially the final nail in the coffin to wrap up the hardware business, and exclusives are absolutely not happening. I just wonder, sincerely, like, I wonder, like, what if this was replace Xbox with PlayStation? You know? Tom Warren talked about this 10 years ago, that this was the plan. Well, to be fair, I feel like Microsoft kind of has been relatively open about all this. That's why their marketing confuses the absolute fuck out of me. Where it's almost like they're banking on people not paying attention. And I hate to say it, like, kind of tricking people where it's like, yeah, no, it's what you think it is. Like, oh, great. It's like, no, it's not at all. Like, not really. And I feel like they're just kind of hoping, like, yeah, we're not converting you to PC players. No. And it's like, you know, 2 years from now, it's like, yeah, you guys are PC players, which is fine. Again, that's fine. But it's the nature of which it's being done, where it's like, they're trying to convert you to PC under the guise of like, yeah, this is a console. This is a console, boy. Yeah. It's like, all right, well, I get it. It's awkward for Microsoft because they have to undo 25 years of what they've done. This would be the equivalent of Sony releasing a PS6 with Steam and GOG and you know, Epic Game Store and Windows on it and being like, yeah, it's still a console. Like, bro, that's a PC. Like, that's not a PlayStation console. It's a PC. Like, no. We have like a PlayStation wrap around it. Damn, boss, you scared the shit out of me. I didn't see you there, man. Xbox stopped having its own dev platform as of 2020. Well, let me get this out of here now. But yeah, these are some of the details that came out from Sneaker SO. And, you know, my big takeaway with this, to be honest, my big takeaway with it is like, well, I mean, I don't see what there is to get upset about here. A lot of people were getting very upset, and I'm like, he's not saying anything crazy. He's not saying anything that hasn't already been kind of, you know, like we said, just kind of put out there numerous times. I just think that it sounds kind of bad to some people. Like, I think that maybe there's some people who didn't even know Magnus was a thing. They didn't even know Project Helix was a thing, and now they do. And I don't know. I also do think that there are, boss, why do you got to do that, man? I think that there are people who are still kind of holding out hope that Microsoft is going to go back, you know, that they're going to go back to the way things were, or that there's still some, like a semblance of what was. And I get it, you know, but and here's something else too. Like, this is just the stuff that I see that I'm like, I don't know where, I guess I kind of understand where people are coming from, but they're like, I want to read this one reply I got from somebody because it's just interesting to me that this was the takeaway. Let me bring it up. I know it's here. This person says, I genuinely don't get why some of you are so invested in hoping Xbox fails. How do you get this emotionally committed to hating a gaming console? Who cares? More competition is good. If Xbox returns to form, that's better for consumers. That's what's crazy to me. Is like, dude, what about anything we're covering insinuates that we want it to fail? This is what I mean, where it's like this person is talking as if Xbox didn't already fail. That's the weird part to me. Why are some of you so invested in hoping Xbox fails? Like, dude, we don't need to hope for anything. That's already happened. That's why we're even talking about any of this. That's why these rumors are even circulating and these reports are even circulating. That's why Xbox players who bought a Series X and bought an Xbox One and had a 360, they're now going to become PC players. You know? And it's like nobody's, well, I don't say nobody. That's not true. There are definitely people hoping for it to fail. But the whole point that I'm trying to get at here is that, like, yeah, I also want more competition. That's not happening. Like, that's the point. That's the whole point. And people don't seem to understand that. Like, they just still don't understand that. Like, Microsoft wants to make money from PlayStation, and they plan to sell more copies of their games on PlayStation than they do their own upcoming console. That's the opposite of competition. And that's why I'm just so perplexed by the people that I encounter where they're like out here and they're like, did you know that the Xbox Helix is going to be like 30% faster and more powerful than the PS6? And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. And I don't know. It's turning. I will say this. It is becoming more and more niche. It is getting to a point where, like, my takeaway from what I posted yesterday, first off, I didn't expect it to go viral like that. I didn't expect it to get like over 600,000 views and like, hundreds of quote tweets and hundreds of replies. I was a little bit shocked, not shocked, but a little bit surprised to see that, because I just thought it was interesting. I'm like, bro, these are like, this is a whole, because it's funny. Like, I cover the stuff Jez Corden says too, and Jez Corden, by the way, is saying people, well, that's the thing. You're saying people are cooking me. They're cooking me because of something else I said months ago that has nothing to do with what's being reported right now, other than the fact that they want to use what I said as a means to discredit the person putting out this information. And again, this is why to those people, it's like, go pull all the receipts. Don't just pull the ones that are convenient for you. If you want to be the receipt puller, pull all of them. Not mine, by the way, because I'm not the one making these claims. Go pull the receipts of Sneaker SO, and you're going to find out really fucking fast that, holy shit, this guy's been right about a lot of things. He's been wrong about like one, maybe two things. Dude's been leaking shit from Microsoft since 2012. Go pull the receipts. They won't do it. They won't do it because they're not going to publicly humiliate themselves that way. So what they'll do is they'll pull a tweet of mine from months ago, put that up, and say, see, this is why he's wrong and stupid, and so are you. Or you know what they'll do? They'll pull a compilation picture of all the headlines that were written up a couple months ago saying, Xbox hardware canceled. And it's like, show me the entire post. Then read that entire post. And when you do, you'll realize that it was only ever insinuated that they might be done with hardware, not definitively. However, it was not insinuated. It was confirmed that they're not making a normal console. There were discussions of that. They never went anywhere. That got axed. Stop triggering me, damn it. Dude, you know what the funny thing is, though? It's like, yeah, people are cooking me. They could cook me all they want, bro. My tweet's the one that's going viral. Sorry if it's hurting your feelings that people are going to see the truth of what the next Xbox device is. I know that hurts people, but you know what? It's not my problem. You know, like I'll put the same type of fucking tweets out for PlayStation. And you know what? Do you know how much shit I see people talk about PlayStation? Like, dude, people practically hate the PS6, and it doesn't even. It's in the same position that Project Helix is in. It's not even announced yet. And it's like, okay. Are you asking what's Twitter? Do I consider PC a downgrade or an upgrade from console? I guess it depends on your perspective. I mean, in the case of Project Helix, if you're like an Xbox player that is okay with two things, number one, knowing that you are paying a seemingly a significant premium for this. Like, this is not going to be a $500-$600 box. This is going to be like $1,000 or more. If you're okay with that, and as long as you're okay with knowing that like this console hybrid is just that, it's trying to kind of segue you into PC oriented gaming. As long as you're okay with those two things, then yeah, it can easily be seen as an upgrade. Like, somebody asked me, this is the irony of all of this, by the way. Somebody asked me, like, MBG, do you want the new Xbox? And I'm like, well, I'm leaning towards no. And they were like, well, what would you would you need? What would change your mind? What would get you to buy it? And I'm like, well, if it comes out holiday 2027, I can tell you I won't be like a day one buyer. But like, if it's true that, for as powerful as this thing is, it's going to be like $1,200, but it's the equivalent. I mean, I'd have to look it over. You know, I have to see if it would actually, if it would fit my needs. But it's like, yeah, my PC is a couple years old at this point. I don't use it for gaming. That's why I would probably not buy this device, because I don't know that I would want to buy a device that's, well-spoken pony. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, we're the Pony Brigade, bro. Obviously, that's what we are. That's what we do. We hate Xbox. We hate Xbox. We'll buy Forza Horizon 5. We'll buy more copies of Forza Horizon 5 than Xbox players will. It's Pony Brigade. But I don't know. It's like, if by the time I need to upgrade my PC, if it's like, yeah, this thing is expensive, but if you use it as an actual PC, the price is actually like a great deal. Yeah, then I would consider it. It would be weird because it's like I bought an Xbox to use as my, my work PC. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know if I would do that. Again, I'd have to look over every aspect of it. I'm not sure that would be the wisest decision, but there's a chance it could play some kind of role for me going forward, which is ironic because if Microsoft were to do a normal traditional console but with no exclusives whatsoever, that would play zero role. Like, that's why I don't have a Series X or a Series S, because it's like, yeah, at this point, why would I even think about buying one when they're telling me their games are coming over? But yeah, that's the only instance in which I could see myself considering it. It's there to move console Game Pass members to PC Game Pass and console owners over to PC once done consoles is over for them. PS on the brain. Look, bro, I don't want to talk about that right now. All right. I want to just let me live my days. All right. Console warning till it's over. What the fuck?
With fanboys is fun.
Okay, I don't. All right, the internet's cursed, bro. What even was that? All right, hold on, let me get this out of here. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like what we're looking at ultimately here is Microsoft is going to be using Project Helix as a way to slowly get them out of the traditional console business. And it's going to come out next year. It's going to be premium. And the PS6 is seemingly still going. I'm not talking about that, Garrett. Is still seemingly going to be coming holiday 2027. Jerry Gamer, you're saying can't wait to be back to teraflop beefing again. By the way, what will Sony do with their console exclusives next gen? Since Helix plays PC games day one. Well, apparently, based off of everything that's being said right now by every reputable insider, Sony is no longer porting their single-player games to PC. So it seems like if you were somebody that was hoping you could play something like Wolverine or Ghost of Yotei or Intergalactic or Cory Barlog's game eventually on Steam through this new Xbox Helix, that's apparently not going to happen. In other words, Sony's going to make it so if you want to play those games again, you're going to have to buy a PlayStation. And I'm not like shocked by that, you know? I did wonder for quite some time, like, if that's something that Sony would do something about. And I'm not saying that's the direct cause, or reason why they are backing off, but they did something nonetheless. Are we talking about games like Phantom Blade still? Oh, yeah. That's the thing. It's like a game like Phantom Blade or even like Kena, Scars of Cosmora, these games are launching on PC, and it's like, yeah, you'll be able to play these things on Xbox Helix. So, like, if those are games you're interested in, they're not games you're going to need to buy a PlayStation for. And, you know, that to me is... I don't think Sony's too worried about that. Because, again, like, the most important... I'll be honest with you, man. Sony could still port games like Wolverine, Ghost of Yotei, Intergalactic, and in the future, like Venom and The Last of Us Part 3. They could still port these games to PC. It's not going to make it so that tens of millions of people are now going out and buying Xbox Helix. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think that's high on the list. Like, reasons we should stop porting games to PC because Xbox Helix will be able to play them via Steam. I think that's like third or fourth down. I don't think that's high up on the list. But I do think it just kind of like, you know, it's one of those things where it helps Sony. It's like, well, it's better it's just not over there at all, you know? At least that's my view of it. Neutral Zone, you're saying you think that's the main reason? I don't think so, man. Check Yang Ye's YouTube video about PlayStation exclusives leaving PC. The comments were very funny. Hold on. I haven't seen a Yang Ye video in a long time. You said the one... Okay, so report... I like his thumbnail, though, dude. Holy shit. Where did he get that? Where did he get that PlayStation Studios banner? That looks sick. Not what I was expecting. Boss. All right. Boss, I'll give you some treats. I'm not going to keep you waiting. Kena isn't a first-party Sony title. PlayStation Studios is helping with the development, but yeah, it's a second-party deal. Yang Ye is useless. He reports news 2 days after everybody else. Does he? I don't know. Well, he's very well known, though. He has a large... How many subscribers does he have now? Like 1.17 million. So
If there's one thing that's becoming...
Oh, she's up. Wow, he's changed his background quite a bit. Let's see. Sony churning out live service games is what hurts their brands more. Only if they stop doing that slop as well. I mean, I can't fully disagree with that. People need to just start adding the caveat, though. Like, for real, though. Like, people have to add the caveat, except for Helldivers. Because people need to understand that, like... bro, if it wasn't for Sony trying to do live service, Helldivers probably wouldn't exist. Helldivers 2. And Helldivers 2 is awesome. But, yeah, no, I get what they're saying, where it's like Sony's got to... They got to do better live service games like that. But yeah, I'm not totally opposed to what they're saying. If only they ditched a certain oversaturated game genre. I genuinely believe one of the big reasons they're doing this is because the Steam player counts were upsetting investors. I mean, it could be. That's actually an interesting comment. It could be that Sony was afraid that investors are going to start really pushing them. It's like, you got to go day and date. And they're like, you know what? We're not going to do this. It's possible. Let me see. What's the next one? I have a PS4 but never got a PS5 and instead upgraded my PC because I have come to realize that Sony's never going to make the games I care about anymore. If they want to continue to just make live service or video game versions of Oscar bait and nothing else, so be it. I'll just take my money elsewhere. That's okay. Already got Bloodborne on PC. There's more than enough games on PC to let my PS5 collect dust at this point. You should report on the dynamic pricing shenanigans. Yeah, that's a dude. Oh man, I'll tell you right now, man. That would literally make me leave PlayStation. If they're like, we're done with physical games and we're only going to do dynamic digital pricing, I would leave because I'm like, fuck that. But yeah, this is what the dynamic pricing shit with Sony right now. This is why I tell people, this is why we don't want physical games to go away. Like, honestly, like this is a really good reason why, because it's not good. It's not good, man. Let me see. The only thing that got me worried was Stellar Blade 2, but then I found out they're no longer with Sony, so nothing of value was lost. Exclusivity should have become obsolete when crossplay was normalized. They're doing this because they're embarrassed to see their live service slop being seen through Steam DB for player counts while PS is hidden. This won't make me buy a PlayStation. It'll just make me buy less Sony/PlayStation games. This person says, so instead of releasing the original Uncharted and God of War trilogies and Ratchet and Clank games, Demon's Souls, Bloodborne, and such, they've decided to choke us with an endless rain of live service games that nobody asked for. Sorry. And then they make terrible ports at full price and force people to make an account, which, by the way, not all countries have access to, leaving millions of potential customers out. And the surprise that PC sales aren't amazing. Wow, just wow. I mean, again, man, like, see, I don't blame people for leaving these comments. As a PC gamer, goodbye, or whatever. See, this right here, listen, this brings me back to what I said, like, I think years ago, which is like, Sony, why even bark up this tree, dude? I'm serious. Like, this is the problem where if Sony had any level of wisdom when it comes to what they wanted to do on PC, they would have made the decision very quickly. This is, at least, I will give Microsoft this credit. Microsoft didn't hesitate. They're like, we're just going PC. I don't think it helped them at the time, but they didn't. That's like one instance where they didn't do that shit, where they were like, we're just going day and day on PC. Sony really messed up by not only going to PC, but taking this, like, I don't know, maybe we'll just see how it goes. We'll do a little bit here, but maybe not there, and time frames will be everywhere. And I'm like, dude, PC players are gonna hate you for that. And I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, this is just why I tell Sony, like, PC players don't give a fuck about you. Like, Sony, it seems like they finally get it. Like, they don't care about PlayStation or PlayStation games. If they did, they wouldn't be on PC. They would be on PlayStation. And that's why it's like, if you want to serve PC players, then serve them. You know? I don't know that that's a wise move if you're trying to sell consoles. But this idea that, like, like, no, dude, PC players are bitches like that. Just like all fan bases are. You know, like, it's like if Microsoft said, we're taking our games back. You know how many PlayStation players you see? Fine, see ya. We don't fucking care. Take your shit off. I don't care. I didn't even care that much to begin with. Because that's how it is. It's like, if you're gonna go deliver something to somebody's house because they didn't want to come pick it up, and you decide, I don't even want to do this. Maybe I didn't even want to deliver this. They're going to tell you to get the fuck out and go. You know, because they didn't ask for it. They didn't ask for you to deliver it. I'm just saying, this is the problem with Sony and PC, man, where they should have never barked up that tree to begin with. They should have never done it. Because I've encountered so many PC players that they don't appreciate Sony's games. You know, they don't. And that's fine. I'm not surprised. It's like, yeah, you don't have a PlayStation or you don't play on PlayStation. Why would you appreciate Sony's games? But, you know, I just think that the type of game that Sony makes, they've already courted the people that want to play them. I think there could be, I guess, like, an untapped group of people for Sony's games. But if that's out there, you know, that remains to be seen. But it's not over on PC. That's for damn sure. Like, people, there's this idea, there's this belief that if Sony did day and date on PC, like, it would be different. And I know it would be different, but I don't think it would be what people are insinuating. Like, a PC player who decides, I'm going to buy God of War Ragnarok now that it came to PC 2 years later. I'm sure that same player would be there day one if it was dropped day one. But I just think for the vast majority, it's like, you either want to play God of War Ragnarok or you don't, man. So I don't know. I think Sony just took a completely backwards approach to single player on PC, to be honest. And Mr. Veggie, you're saying, even all third-party games I play on PS5, PC Master Bates play a handful of MP games and MMOs, but hate PS5 games. They deserve the shit they get. Well, that's the thing, man. Like, I don't have a problem with PC gaming. It just kind of always comes down to, you know, what it usually does, which is I just have a problem with, like, the annoying few. Like, most people who play on PC, as far as I'm aware, are, like, normal. But yeah, it's like the PC Master Race people, where it's like, whatever, bro. Like, you're the same side of the coin, or you're the other side of the same coin that you claim to hate. And that's what a lot of these people don't realize. Mr. Veggie, you're saying, right when my niece is born, I have a terrible cold. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I hope you recover soon. Yeah, it's the weather's changing. It's that time. MBG, the ones who don't like Sony games see them as cookie cutter, middle of the road, easy games made for the masses. They see Elden Ring and hard games as what games should be. And I get that, but that's where people who take that approach, it's like, you're not actually playing the games, though. And I say this as somebody who's played both. I platinumed Elden Ring, and I've platinumed plenty of Sony games. And believe me when I tell you, go play God of War on Give Me God of War mode. you're going to encounter certain instances that are more difficult than anything you'll encounter. Not anything, but a lot of what you'll encounter in Elden Ring. And they don't do that. They don't do that because I don't know why. So they can continue to say that. It reminds me of the same thing of how people make it seem like Sony just makes the same games. And don't get me wrong, there's similarities, but it's like, bro, you're fucking half cocked. Like go play Horizon Forbidden West, and then go fucking play Returnal. And then after you're done playing Returnal, go play Ghost of Yotei. And it's like all three of those games have extremely distinct gameplay styles. And none of them are, like, again, the closest similarity you could get to is they're third person, and two of those games are open world and have side quests. But I don't know, man. I feel like, honestly, it just gets to a point where, I don't know. I know I'm coming off like irritable and defensive, and I cringe at myself for coming off that way, but I just think Sony's got to be more aware, dude. Like, they just have to be more aware of, like, Sony, not everybody loves your shit, and that's okay. I know you need to grow. I know you want to grow, but they're just going to have to accept at this point that the growth is going to be slow unless they start bending over backwards for audiences and groups of people that have made it clear that they're not really interested in what you're doing. And to that, I say, I hope you don't do that, because that's not in my best interest. As somebody who is interested in what you're doing, and I do like a lot of what you're doing, and I appreciate it, I'd rather see you just, continue to focus on us, and that's fine. That's why I'm not obsessed with growth in the way that Sony is, obviously, because they're running it from a more business-oriented standpoint. But, it's just, I think that we're just reaching a point where there is a clear divide. So Sony failed on PC. Sony did fail on PC, yes. Single player wise, yes, they did. And I'm not shocked by that. I'm not. Like, dude, I knew. I had a feeling. I'm like, are PC players really that hyped for Days Gone? Like, I remember Days Gone is the one that really shocked me, where I'm like, I don't get it. Like, why is there so much hype for Days Gone coming to PC like 2 years later? Like, I remember seeing people bitching about this game. I'm not saying it was PC players bitching about it, but I was just surprised, where I'm like, I love Days Gone. I think it's a great game. This is weird to see it doing this well. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, this is either the beginning of, like, Sony just opened up they just found a gold mine, and it's only going to get better and better and better, or this is the novelty, where it's like, holy shit, Days Gone, a PlayStation exclusive. It's the exact same situation that Microsoft is in with bringing their games to PlayStation, where it's like, how hype are people going to be, 3 or 4 years from now, when Xbox bringing their games over is just run of the mill? It's just, yeah, of course, they're just a publisher now on PlayStation. The novelty is completely gone. The novelty of Halo being on PlayStation is gone. Of Forza being on PlayStation is gone. I think that, you might see that some of these games could potentially start to struggle the same way that they were previously. Not entirely, but you might start to see shades of that, where it's like, oh, Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not upset to see Sony fail on PC, though. Like, I know people want to, like, highlight, well, Sony, you did this to yourself. I agree. Yeah. But I'm saying that as somebody where it's like, dude, I would have, if Sony decided 5 years ago, like, we're not putting anything on PC, I would be totally fine with that. Like, that's where I was in 2019. That's why I was like, holy shit, okay, I guess they're putting Horizon on PC. That's a first. And the reason I feel that way is, again, it'll always come back to, I'm not against PlayStation wanting to sell their console. I know I sound like it's a broken record, but it's because it's just like, even if I was a PC player, I would get it. Where it's like, yeah, Sony wants to sell their fucking console. That's what they want to do. Why wouldn't they want to do that? If Sony didn't care about their console, like Microsoft doesn't care about theirs, I'd say, yeah, you should be multi-platform. If Sony's main objective was, we need to sell more games, that's all that matters, is we need to sell more games and get higher profit margins as a publisher, then my answer to that would be, well, then why are you so focused on selling your console when you should be more focused on being multi-platform? And I already know the answer to that question. The reason why Sony isn't saying that, and there doesn't need to be an answer to that question, is because they make way more money and better profit margins off of their console selling as a vector to get somebody in and keeping them in that ecosystem than they would off of trying to sell more copies of games outside of that ecosystem. And that's the truth. It was never going to go day and date for software sales. It was always about hardware. Well, yeah, and that's the thing, man. People do want. There's a lot of people, especially PC gamers. They want to see. They want to see the traditional console model end, because the only alternative at that point is to embrace PC. And the thing about PC gaming and PC players is they like how open it is. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. I've never did. It's just, that's not what appeals to me. I don't care. I don't care that you could do whatever you want on PC. Nothing's stopping me from doing that right now on my PC, which is, I think, more, well, I don't think it's more powerful than the PS5 Pro, but it's certainly more powerful than my PS5. But the thing is like, yeah, it always comes back down to the same thing, man, where it's like, there's just too many people who fail to accept, or if they don't accept it, they just don't want to understand it, that like, dude, there are people who like the console experience. And they mean the whole thing. I'm not talking about just like, yeah, I just bought it to play Call of Duty and Fortnite. I'm not talking about it. I'm saying like there are people who like that experience. They like the idea of the walled garden and having a very catered experience. There are people who like that. And, this is where the whole PC master race thing comes in, where it's like, well, we look down upon you, because that's like, well, I don't give a shit. Like, you can look down upon me all you want, like, that's not going to stop me from, and millions of others from just enjoying what they enjoy, bro. That's why this whole thing with Xbox is throwing me for a loop, because I'm like, all right, man, like, if these people who love the console experience want to pretend that they no longer love it anymore because Microsoft said they're done with it, okay. I'll tell you what, if Sony was done with it, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd have absolutely no choice but to embrace it, because it's like your only alternative is Nintendo. But I would never sit here and say that I wouldn't want it to go back. I would never say that. If, 5 years from now, Sony says we're not making a PlayStation 7, we're making an app that's going to be on everything, I would fucking be like, are you kidding me? Like, what? The Steelers are saying Sneaker's most recent post is the best news ever. Good riddance. Are you talking about the one that we were covering? Steelers? I'm assuming that's the one you're talking about. MBG, your chat is very uninformed about PC gaming. How can you even be uninformed about PC gaming? What is there to be uninformed about? You're saying try to stay compassionate without generalizing. Think of the individuals rather than a corporation. There are individuals who did enjoy the games on PC too without any hate towards Sony. That's true. That's true. And to those people, I feel for them. Like, I get where it's like, yeah, this move kind of sucks. But that's where I do blame Sony. Which, like, Sony, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't give just to take away. In my opinion, that is kind of messed up. Where there's just no denying that if Xbox did that, for as much as there would be so many people saying, I don't care, take it, I'd still be like, bro, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that? Why would you put it there just to take it back? But at the same time, man, it's like, yeah, I do get it. I understand why they place the importance of selling their console. PC gaming is triggering everybody. Everybody's triggered by PC gaming. We're raging. Well, I mean, dude, like, it's by Microsoft bowing out of the console space and going into PC. This is why this is happening, because now there's the natural. Okay, well, what do we compare the PlayStation against? Because there's always got to be something to compare it to. Well, people are not going to compare it to Switch for I think pretty obvious reasons. Now the comparison is, I mean, that's the thing. I think the Nintendo comparisons will start to get way more aggressive when the handheld comes out. But right now, it just seems more along the lines of people are going to compare it to PC. And I think it kind of makes sense because, again, PC players have been talking more than ever about PlayStation. Excuse me. And that's because PlayStation's been giving them a good reason to. But, you know. All right, let's see. Sony didn't take the games back. If those people want those games, they should get a PlayStation. Simple. Sony didn't forbid them from buying a PlayStation. I mean, that's true. But Nintendo is the only other console to compare sales. It is a console. You're right. You're right. And so I think PS on the brain, I think where this ends, truthfully, because like I'm gonna be honest, like I'm not at the top of my game. I don't know. I shouldn't say that because people are like, you're never at the top of your game, MBG. I'm in a slightly different headspace right now. Because I just got a lot of shit. I'll be right back. What the fuck is that? Sorry. I was yeah. I'm in a weird. Okay, Clark, get down from there, bro. Stop. Clark. Oh, you guys can't see this, but he's about to. All right, I think he's done. Sorry. I'm just in a strange headspace right now where like I'm not paying nearly as it. I don't know if it's coming across or not. It might. I'm not paying nearly as much attention as I normally would be because I have so much shit going on right now. So I guess what I'm saying is like, if I seem a bit all over the place, this is why. Although for most people, it's probably like, I don't even notice a difference. MBG, you have a well-balanced position on all of this. It's the people that act like companies going everywhere is a mission that all companies should follow for the betterment of the industry. It's annoying. You sure? You good? I'm about to not be good if Clark, he's freaking me out. He's up to no good. Yo, Steeler says, fuck Xbox, fuck PC. Yeah. There we go. Well, no, I appreciate that. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think that at the end of the day, I've always said this, like people just have to go play where they're happiest, you know, whether that means like if you're somebody that just PC gaming in your mind is so good that you can't even fathom why anybody would do anything other than PC gaming, more power to you. My only problem, and I had the same problem with PlayStation players, and this is the thing. Okay. Clark, stop it. You can't go up there. Don't do it. All right. Now I just seem like a crazy person. Like, who's he talking to? My fucking cat looks like he's trying to... He looks like he's about to try to jump into the basement ceiling. Oh my God, he's being so fucking weird. I'm going to have to get rid of him, like, out of the basement. Because he's being so fucking weird. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what he's doing. Little Clark. Shenanigans, bro. All right, let me try to say what I was saying again. I'm all over the place. My problem, and I know that I'm the one making a fuss of it, but eventually things are going to change. They're in the process of changing. But my problem is not with people wanting to advocate for their preferences. I'm the last person to have a problem with that because that's what I like to do. I have a problem with obnoxious people. That's what I have a problem with. And the obnoxious type of people I'm talking about are the ones that are just, they are annoying. They are insufferable because all it ever is, this is the best all the time and this is the worst. And there can be no conversation in between that. That's what always bothers me. Where it's like, it's why I do get annoyed when I encounter people that are already talking about like Project Helix or even like people. This is why, like, when I talk about the PS6, I don't mind when people are critical of it to a degree, though, where it's like there you have to find that this is a person that's being critical of the PlayStation 6 for good reasoning because they actually care. Versus this is a person that's just being critical because they actually are they just are hating on it and they're trolling, and that does bother me because it's like, dude, it's no different than people who are being overly critical towards Project Helix, where I do see that and I get it. It's like people who are more aligned with playing on PlayStation are going to be like, yo, fuck that thing. And I get that. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking people who are just straight up where it's like, I get bunched in with it and I don't know why. Where, again, it goes back to my post that I put out earlier. Who are we yelling at? I'm yelling at Clark. That's who I was yelling at. Where it's like, I don't understand what it is with people like you just wanting to see Xbox fail so badly. It's like, that's not what this is. Like, that's legitimately never been what this is. I left Xbox because they failed. That's what bothers me. Is it's like there's this level of projection. But I don't know. I guess it does it will naturally be derived from certain aspects of the channel over its history. Could support for DLSS be added to Project Helix? I don't see why not. I mean, I think Microsoft would be open to that. Microsoft, I think, with Project Helix is going to be opening the doors to everybody and everything. Sony could put the PlayStation Store on that thing if they wanted. They'd totally be okay with that. But to the 5 people who own a PS5 Pro, enjoy the free upgrades. You've been conned this generation. You've spent £600 to spend another £600 in a year or two because PS6 makes it obsolete, LOL. See, it's funny you say that because I've encountered numerous people who are saying they're actually going to keep their PS5 Pro well into the PS6 generation before they upgrade. But it's like, it's that mentality right there that's just straight retarded. Like, that was a super retarded thing to say, bro. I'm just going to be honest with you. It reminds me of the people who told me that I got scammed because I bought a PS5 in 2020 and then upgraded to the PS5 Pro in 2024. And it's like, bro, listen to me. Don't tell me, as a person who paid $500 for a launch PS5 and played it for quite literally thousands of hours. thousands of hours and got my money's worth 100 times over. And when I decided I'm ready to put this one away or give it to somebody and move on to the upgrade and then repeat that cycle, it's like, speak for yourself, man. Like, that's crazy to me that people, they go around and like, you got scammed. And it's like, yeah, man. Says the dude who's probably fucking buying a new graphics card every year and a half, spending, God knows how much. It's like, I'm telling you, like, these are the types of people that I'm talking about. That's a perfect example of the type of arrogant, obnoxious, like, your take sucks ass, bro, and you know it. Like, it does. Your take is the equivalent of like an Xbox player being like, Xbox is the best box, or a fucking PlayStation player being like, PlayStation, rules the world, or some cringe shit like that. Like, come on, man. Like, it's literally just one shade away from being that. But it got my attention, didn't it? It worked. It worked. Worked a little too good. The Steelers, you're saying, it's me. I'm the guy. I want them Xbox to fail, and I want, and I'm not scared to say it. Good riddance. Well, I have to urge you to calm down, Steelers. Try to calm down. Or I don't know. Maybe I'll just go full tilt, and I'll just embrace it. We will be that. I'll be the thing that I was saying we won't be. Well, I'll say this. At this point, there is a genuine reason I don't want to see Xbox fail. All right. And that reason is because I'm not completely indifferent. I'm almost completely indifferent at this point, but not entirely. There are still certain studios and certain games that Microsoft owns that it hasn't got me to a point where I'm at with like Nintendo, where it's like, yeah, I don't even know what's going on with Nintendo anymore. I don't even pay attention. That's, truth be told, like, that's the only reason I'm not there yet. Like, I might get there at some point, but yeah, I'm not there yet. And we have Mateto again coming in. Thank you, buddy. It's gonna be crazy seeing these red chats, because my brain it confuses my brain. You're saying, when Sony sells more consoles, more players buy games through the PlayStation Store, which is where Sony really makes its money. Exclusives matter because they drive console sales and bring more purchases to Sony's store. Sony sees money per each sale on the PlayStation Store. With Microsoft's new console, the real beneficiary could be Steam, not Xbox. That's true. That's true. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at Michael's reaction. I feel like I completely agree with that assessment. It is interesting to me that more people are not acknowledging that. Like, for example, when you say Steam might actually be the biggest beneficiary, when we look at that, what does that sound like? That sounds exactly like what Microsoft already does with Windows PCs, where Steam is the biggest beneficiary of that, usually in the gaming space. Steam is the biggest beneficiary of these Windows PCs. Microsoft, obviously, they operate on an enterprise level with Windows, of course, and their software. I am surprised that more people don't see that more clearly, that Microsoft themselves doesn't really have much to gain going in the direction they are with Project Helix. And that's why I tell people that if you're an Xbox player, this is a good thing, in the sense that the alternative is they don't do anything. The alternative is that the Series X and the Series S are it. That is the final nail, and it's over. And they do pull a Sega. the fact that they're still willing to go through with this. Now, granted, it was greenlit under Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, and they're not there anymore, but it's far enough along that it can't get canceled now. I think, yeah, it is going to act as a segue for Xbox players to become PC players. And when it comes to what you said about Sony, again, man, you're at this point, you're preaching to the choir, bro. I've been telling everybody, like, Sony, when they're doing their annual investor report or whatever, and they're every year they're saying, like, we're breaking records and making more money than ever, and this PlayStation generation is the most profitable. That is because of the PlayStation Store. That is because of their ecosystem that they built. And yes, exclusives, whether anybody wants to, it doesn't matter how in denial people are. Again, there's just this air of denial. No matter what you want to think, exclusives do work. I'm not saying they work at the, at a scale of 50 million people are buying Sony's exclusives. I'm not saying that. But they work at a large enough scale where it's like, I don't know, man, Sony selling 10 to 12 million, sometimes 15 to 20 million with some of their IPs and some of their games. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. And God knows how many consoles that's moving. A lot, you would assume. And that's, that combined with the third-party strength. Michael, I was waiting this whole time for somebody to say that. It was you. Low key, you're saying yes, MBG. They have lots of PlayStation players that can sound stupid at times. We know this. Microsoft can't even get Microsoft Gaming going. Them owning Steam just doesn't sound good. Well, no, I don't think Microsoft isn't buying Steam. No, that's not happening. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Michael. I love you, bro. I love my audience. Well, I love some more than others. I'm going to be honest. But that's okay. That's okay. My appreciation, though. Tarnished, I can't stand you. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Tarnished. No, you're cool. You're cool. Muffin the Bunny says they're going to get coffee. Gabe loves Microsoft. They put games on PC before a lot did. Well, he used to work at Microsoft, right? He used to be a Microsoft employee. Yeah, I mean, look, man, I think that what we just experienced over the last 5 to 6 years are two console manufacturers, two companies that are in the console business that basically were like, we're going to completely, reshape certain aspects and just go outside of what we normally would. And my YouTube studio just crashed for some reason. Michael, you crashed it with your milestone chat. Michael Warneth, a member for 28 months, he says, please like the video so I can donate memberships. Michael wants to donate. He's doing the thing, guys. It's because I read his denial comment. That's why. He's like, initiate it. Guys, make sure you hit that like button. I think I only said it once on this stream, but yeah. Michael's good for it. He likes to get some likes. I guess give us a goal if you want, Michael. Where are we at now? We have 100. We're at 118 likes. What do you think? 150? Do you want to push it? 175? I'll let you call it, Michael. You let me know, bro. In 2020, Gabe said in an interview he'd have Xbox over PlayStation because of his history and love of Microsoft. Yeah, I remember, if I remember correctly, actually, Gabe Newell didn't have very good things to say about Sony during like the PS3 era or whatever. Like that's why Left 4 Dead never came to PS3 or whatever. But that worked for me. Left 4 Dead won me over. 150. All right, Michael says 150, guys. So we're at 120 likes. If we could get to 150 likes, he'll drop some member gifts for you guys, okay? And he is good for it. Michael, he's a very supportive community member. He likes to drop membership gifts from time to time, pretty frequently, actually. So everybody hit that like button, all right? We need to get to 150 likes. And let's see. Ellen's return. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. With a $5 chat. I'm just going to say, Ellen, what happens to PlayStation's console exclusives, and how much will Sony have to pay to make up for Steam day one sales to secure third-party exclusives now? Well, that's the thing. It's a great question you're asking. I don't think Sony needs to worry about that because if I understand correctly, when it comes to third-party deals, they're going to leave that door open. My understanding is that Sony wants to leverage and utilize their own internal teams to sell consoles. Any deals they make with third parties, they're going to leave that open unless they change their mind on that too. But like, for example, when we look at something like Death Stranding 2 or Kena 2, the sequel, when we look at that, I mean, it seems pretty clear that Sony is just giving them the option. And if you're the developer, I think you're probably always going to choose to do a PC launch as well. And I think that makes sense. I mean, going aggressive with that, where it's like, we're only doing a deal with you if we could just lock it in on PS5 only. That's going to be an uphill battle for Sony. Doing it with their own studios actually does make sense as long as they give their studios the leeway of we're not going to count what you could have gotten on PC against you. As long as they're not doing that, you know, there has to be a certain buffer there. These moves would make more sense if Microsoft was going to open their PC storefront or to open their own PC storefront. Michael, you're saying, serious question. The big three companies committed to no AO Plus rated games on console. Only PC does them. With Helix and access to Steam, will Microsoft pull back on that rule? Is that a thing? Has that actually been an agreement? Because I know you don't see games with AO Plus ratings, like adult only. I know that's not a thing. But I didn't know there was like some kind of agreement. I mean, if they're going to allow Steam, yeah, they have no choice at that point. You know, their only other option is to say we're not going to allow these things on our storefront, you know, or not our storefront, but on our device. I didn't know that. I didn't know that adult only wasn't allowed. I just thought that anytime a game got that rating, the developers would do whatever they had to change it because it meant it wasn't going to sell. Let's see. Yeah, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button. We're at 135, so we're very close, guys. We only need 15 more likes. And Mateto says, the thing is that many people don't realize that nowadays PlayStation is basically what keeps Sony standing, especially now that Sony has moved away from TV manufacturing. Sony cannot afford to lose the PlayStation market because that would basically be its end. And yeah, I wish it was even more so. I wish that PlayStation was all of Sony, or at least like 99% of it. But it's a massive chunk. I mean, they have their movie and music division, of course, but gaming is massive for Sony. And, you know, I saw a comment from somebody yesterday, and they were like, well, I think the PlayStation 6 is the last console from Sony. And I don't agree with that at all. And the main reason for that is because, well, how bad can the PlayStation 6 really do? I mean, every single PlayStation console has done extraordinarily well. There's only one console, I'm talking the home console here, there's only one console that struggled a little bit more than the others, and that was the PlayStation 3. And even then, the PlayStation 3 was on track to end Sony, but it ended up making a comeback and selling like 86 million units lifetime, or 87 or something like that. So it's the only PlayStation home console to not hit the 100 million, and that's because they practically killed their chance at the start. But when I look at the PlayStation 6, I look at where the PS5 is right now. PS5 is obviously on track to hit over 100 million sold. How bad can the PlayStation 6 really do? Like, is the PlayStation 6 going to sell less than the PS3? I doubt it. If you're talking like lifetime, I don't think so, man. As long as Sony keeps doing what they've been doing, right? I think you're looking at potentially, and maybe I'm too bullish on this, but I think it could be slow. Like, I think we could see a slowdown, kind of like what you saw with the PS3, where most of the sales happen later on in the second half of the generation. But I absolutely think that the PS6 could be another 100 million unit console sold. I can see that, especially when the supposed, it's not competition, but the alternative is, here's like a $1,000 to $1,200 PC hybrid from Microsoft. Or if you don't want that, here's a Switch 2. I think the PS6, even though it might be off to a slower start and it might struggle a little bit more. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think there will be a PlayStation 7. I think as long as Sony is selling 70, 80, 90, 100 plus million consoles, they're going to keep making consoles because that's crazy good. That's really, really good. And, I think it just kind of harkens back to what we've just been trying to really establish here, what we've been establishing for a long time, which is the fact that there is a reason Sony still, they've decided that they still have, they have enough studios and enough games that are in development to try to like really leverage them to sell their consoles. Because, I mean, let's face it, man. What is PlayStation if the console doesn't sell? I mean, really, like, what is PlayStation if the PS6 comes out and struggles to even get to 25 million sold? At that point, PlayStation is stuck. And if they're stuck, it means they're going to have to change, like, dramatically what they're seen as. How the brand evolves from that point would be anybody's guess. But I could tell you right now that what Sony doesn't want is to be in that position, because the only way they would be able to realistically evolve beyond like being a hardware first, console manufacturer that gets people into the ecosystem through the hardware and the accessories and the exclusives, is the PlayStation Store would have to begin to go to other places. And that just brings so much baggage with it that Sony would prefer not to have to deal with. But that may be, that may end up being the long-term future. So all this is to just say that, yes, Sony's going to work very hard and make any decision necessary to preserve what they have and what has worked, because the alternative is very feasible. It's doable. Like, they'll do what they have to do, but it's almost guaranteed that your rips, on every game, on every microtransaction, you're going to be facing deeper competition once you put the PlayStation storefront against other storefronts. And that's the thing. That's another reason why PC players in particular, and not just PC players, but generally speaking, there's a lot of people that want to see console gaming fall, at least PlayStation being the next domino to fall, because of exactly that. People want, and I get it from a pro consumer standpoint, where they want to buy any device they want and be able to choose what storefront they go to. PlayStation still has it, just like Nintendo, where, once you buy with PlayStation, you kind of, it's not that you have to go through them. Like, you can leave PlayStation and go back to Steam and go back to wherever you want. But by them having those games exclusive, and by them making their storefront exclusive to their hardware, there's a good chance you're going to have to be forced at certain points to interact with it, and I can understand from that perspective why people are kind of annoyed with that and would just prefer it to be the other way, the other way around. But I don't know. I'm just more of a traditionalist. I always have been, where I don't see a problem with Sony wanting to continue to do it the traditional way. All right, where are we at now? All right, guys. We're at 139 likes. We need 11 more likes. Can we get 11 more likes? If we get 11 more likes, Michael Werniff, good friend of the channel, he said he'll drop some membership gifts for you guys. So we only need 10 more now. Can we do it? Can we do it in the next 60 seconds? Is it possible? Can we get 10 likes in 60 seconds? Because it's about to be 2 o'clock. I'm looking. We got 142. I don't know. Hold on. 144. Hold on. It's about to turn over. 146. We need 4 more. It is 2 now. If we get those 4 likes now, we lock it in. 150 likes, 2 hours into the stream. And Ellen, you're saying, will Sony be hurt by being forced to give up the $2 billion they were making on PC while being forced to spend more on first party because third party's too much? That's a good question. That's a very good question. I want to say probably not. I mean, $2 billion is $2 billion, right? I think it's a short-term loss. Oh, we did it. We did it.
Holy shit.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And thank you, Michael, for incentivizing the chat here to hit that like button and engage deeply. And there he goes, Michael Werniff. He drops a single gift, and it goes to Blue Balls, bro. You can't make that up. How does this man drops a single member gift, and it goes to somebody named Blue Balls? Oh, he drops a second single. Let's see what he's doing here. Let's see what he's doing. I think I know what he's doing. I think I know what Michael's doing. He drops a third gifted, which brings us to 4. If I know Michael, I think he's trying to do the 25. We're going to see. He's like, yeah, we got 150 likes. Blue Point. Don't remind me. Don't remind me, man. Don't make me sad again. Don't make me sad. And he does it. I knew he was going to do that. Michael does it. He dropped the individual gifts to get us to 24, but I think he's going to leave the 25th one open for somebody. He drops 20 member gifts on you guys.
Holy shit.
Michael, bro, thank you so much. I love you, man. I love you, Michael. Thank you for the member gifts. He opens the 20 pack. Absolutely love to see it. He's going crazy. He wants the Herman.
This is an incredibly exciting time for PlayStation.
I can't believe I have Herman Holst as a freaking soundbite, bro. I want to see if I can find a different Herman Holst soundbite because I feel like that one's getting a little old. No Herman, please. You're saying is it 25? Hold on. On my end, it says 24. Clark, please be careful with that, man. 1, 2. Hold on, I'm checking. 1, 2. Well, either way, it doesn't matter. On my end, it says 24, but, you know, I'm sure somebody will come in and drop that single. Somebody will. So, you're saying so that makes 26. Wait. How is this possible? What am I missing? Because on my end, it says 24. Did I miss something? Did YouTube miss something? Oh, no. You're right. No, I know exactly what it is. It is 25. Oh, damn it. I knew that was going to happen. Michael, thank you, bro. I apologize, Michael. You didn't have to do that. I know what happened. It's because, who was it? What was his name? And Big Tech. Well, hey, we're going over the 25. Big Tech, he tried to get it. It's because earlier. Oh my God, why? Why is my YouTube studio breaking? I'm sorry, guys. Somebody dropped a member gift before I went live, and the YouTube counter doesn't count it once I hit go live. You get what I'm saying? Like, I had it on my counter, but YouTube's doesn't. So we're actually at 27 on the day. So Big Tech thank you for dropping a single. Michael, thank you for dropping 25. I'm sorry, I basically baited you into dropping an extra gift. My bad. That was not intentional. I was just genuinely confused for a moment there. But there we go. We hit 25. We're going to feed the beast. Who wants some gifts? We need Nishino soundbite. I got it.
PlayStation has been defining the gaming industry for the past 3 decades.
But Ellen, with your $5 super chat, I'm sorry I just kind of like blew past it. I want to try to answer that for a moment. You're saying, will Sony be hurt by being forced to? God, this cat. No, apparently none of my cats want treats. I'm sorry. I can't even celebrate properly because my cats don't even care. No, I don't think Sony's going to be that hurt by the $2 billion. I think it will lead to some questions. I think some people are going to... Hold on. Alex, you're saying MBG Tom Warren just called out Sneaker SO saying he doesn't know what he's talking about? Didn't Tom Warren vouch for him in the past, though? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. I mean, do you know where? I mean, you know where he said this? Microsoft has been working on covering Xbox and Windows for more than a decade. Here's Jason Schreier and Kisa McDonald in a Kotaku article from 2016 discussing the original Project Helix. All right, well, it's it's whatever. It's getting to a point, man, where PS on the brain. If you're still here, bro, get ready because I'm going to say the thing. I'm just going to have to stop talking about Xbox. Hanzo, I don't know. That's a crazy diss, bro. That's a crazy diss. I'm going to have to stop talking about it. I'm going to have to stop talking about Xbox because it's just like, but let me guess though, Tom Warren's report, right? Just so we're clear, Tom Warren's report that completely and utterly fucking steamrolled Sarabon. Okay. Whatever, man. I'm at a point. I'm just at a point where it's like, I don't know what to say. I do know what to say, but there's really, is it worth saying it? No more Xbox talk. It's over. Only PlayStation. Only cat talk now. I'm not even talking about games no more, bro. Now, listen. I need you guys to listen to me for a second. In all seriousness, I wasn't kidding earlier when I said I'm barely getting by right now. Okay, my life's been so chaotic the past week and a half, and it's only gonna get, I think, more chaotic in the next week. Changes are coming. Nothing too crazy. Good changes. Positive changes. All right. I'm gonna get a tattoo, and it's gonna say "No more Xbox talk" on my forehead with a tear. Potato, you're saying it's likely to be the last, but only if Sony knowingly does things very badly, considering that after losing the small market they had with Xperia devices, losing the TV market, the Walkman market, and being far from dominating the camera world. If they also lose PlayStation, Sony disappears. Yeah, that's a good point. Sony is trying to transform more into being like a like an entertainment company, an IP powerhouse. That seems to be what the CEO Hiroki Totoki really wants to do. But you're not wrong, man. Like they are fading more and more from being that kind of like electronics first company, that hardware first company. And that's where it's like this is why I want to continue to see PlayStation consoles do well, because I just feel very strongly that if PlayStation consoles continue to sell well, then there would be no reason for Sony to stop making them. And, as long as there's a demand, I guess you could say. No, it's not just the changes to my basement. Just to be no, I'm not, it's not just that. That is a big thing that's happening, but there's been other things going on as well that I just haven't really been discussing. Nothing too crazy, just normal life stuff. But it's just been very hectic. But yeah, I do not want to see Sony in a position where the console starts to really soften and people aren't buying it and the demand drops significantly, because I do feel that if that happens, Sony will start to consider not making more console hardware, going in a different direction. I'm sure they are anticipating that to happen one day, but I mean, don't forget, they have PlayStation trademarked all the way up to PlayStation 9. So I feel like we can at least hope for that, right? And we have Stablinski with a $5 chat saying it's not 2 billion, since a lot of that is from Helldivers, etc. That's not going away. That's true. When we talk about the $2 billion that Sony made from putting their games on PC, it is easy to overlook the fact that the majority of that 2 billion came from Helldivers sales and Helldivers microtransactions. Did you complete your roof, bro? Not yet. No. PlayStation 8 will be the final one. PlayStation 8, I could see that being the last one. That's crazy. What the hell would a PlayStation 8 even look like? What is this cat doing? Oh my God, Clark. Clark. Bro, you're pissing me off, man. You gotta be shitting me. Clark, come on. Oh my God. I don't know what the hell's gotten into him today, man. Sorry. I don't mean to keep walking away. He's tearing stuff up over there. It's because he found a little bead or something. He was playing with it, but he got stuck under the floor and whatever. My Kratos picture moved while I was gone. PlayStation 10 will be in your brain, literally. Yeah, probably. But yeah, I mean, when we evaluate like PlayStation's business in terms of how much money they're making, and you look at the portion of money that's coming from PC, we do have to understand that there is a reason why Sony is not going to be done with putting live service games onto PC. They're going to continue to put live service games on PC because, well, if they look at how much money something like Helldivers 2 brought in, they would be kind of crazy to not still put their live service games on PC. By the way, something we haven't talked about pretty much at all is Marathon. What's going on with Marathon, man? We've been talking so much about these consoles. Does Marathon seem like it's doing all right? Pificus says, morbidly, the main reason I have hope in Xbox's success is Asha's track record. It also may be the reason Satya is giving her a blank check. Apparently that wasn't true. Yeah, this is why I'm at a point where there's so much crap coming out of the Xbox side of things. Some of it's true, some of it's not. Apparently that entire quote was debunked, supposedly. Somebody at Microsoft went on Twitter and said that was never stated during their town hall meeting or whatever. Hold on. MBG, report your own news. Don't rely on others. I'm going to have to start getting my own sources, bro. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I post some of this stuff because it's like, yeah, I'm not sure why somebody would make a quote like that up. Unknown. Stop it. But when I mean, you're saying you have hope for Xbox, or you have hope for success for Xbox because of Asha Sharma's track record. And I mean, for me, I feel the opposite. Honestly, I feel like while there can be benefits to having somebody new in there, Clark, I'm going to have to just end the stream. Clark. Like, I'm actually going to have to kick him out. I'm just trying to talk to you guys. Marathon is also coming to PS4. Oh, here he is. All right, come on. Whatever you're doing over there, stop. Just come eat treats and chill the fuck out, all right, man? Stressing me. It's coming to PS4. Well, I don't think that's going to matter. That's stupid. If they release Marathon for PS4, that's just stupid. Because, like, why would you send that signal that, like, yeah, we're still going to port games to PS4 in 2026? Like, come on. What are we doing at that point? But I saw that it was rated. Who's over there? Well, he's eating treats now. He looked like he was tearing up those panels on the floor. Yeah, now he is. All right, thanks. No, that's okay. He got his treats already. This is MBG was about to come wrangle up Clark for me. But now he's being good. They need players. I mean, yeah, I get that, but I'm just saying, like, at this point, you have sold 90 million PlayStation 5s, 93 million PlayStation 5s. How many people truly are left on PS4? I mean, I don't know. If they were to release it on PS4, to me, that just comes off as desperate. I'm going to be honest. I just feel like that's a little bit desperate. Alvin9033, a member for 20 months, says, the guy who leaked the blank check quote is Spanish, and apparently Google Translate wasn't accurate, but you're correct, MBG, it was officially debunked. Yeah, I'm confused about that leaker. I think his name is Ecstasis because he clearly has some kind of connections. He was like the person who leaked Forza Horizon 5 coming to PS5 and was correct about it. That's the problem with these leakers and stuff. A lot of them is that they get stuff right, but people treat it like the moment they get something wrong, they're not to be trusted ever again. And I'm like, well, yeah, I understand why people jump to those conclusions, but at the same time, like, what about all the things they did get right? Like, that tells you that they do have some good sources, you know? But that's the name of the insider game and the leak game, man, is like you can be right 99% of the time. Oh my god. Who did this to my cat? Who's doing this? Somebody's trolling me. Somebody's trolling me on another level. But yeah, that's the name of the leak game, man. When you're a leaker, dude, let Clark cook. Yeah, I'll let him cook, all right. He's knocking shit over. He's tearing shit up. Will they separate Ghost of Yotei's multiplayer to buy it separately? If I recall correctly, they did that with Ghost of Tsushima Legends. A little while after, though. It wasn't immediately. I think that they tried to use Ghost of Tsushima Legends to sell more copies of Ghost of Tsushima. And then after a couple of months, they sold it separately for $20. And yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it. I have Ghost of Yotei installed. I beat it again on New Game Plus to make sure to get 100%. And I'm looking forward to playing some Legends. I just hope the trophies aren't too difficult. Because I remember when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima Legends, there was one trophy to, I think, complete the raid. And that was really hard. I hope they don't do that again. It's fine if they have a raid again. I just hope it's not a requirement to get the trophies, because that was brutal, if I recall correctly. But wait, time for the catnip infused treats. I actually have them. I don't think Clark has eaten those yet. But yeah, let me go check on a marathon. Marathon Steam concurrent players. There's currently 63,482 people playing. The 24-hour peak was 75,133. And the all-time peak was 3 days ago at 88,337. See, yeah, I don't know about this one, man. I don't know. I mean, that's not, like, bad. Resident Evil 9 is going to have co-op? Wait, Perfect Image, where are you getting that from? I don't think Resident Evil 9 is going to have co-op. The server slam was free. Oh, no, you're saying those are bad numbers? I mean, listen, man. I'll tell you this. Sony paid $3.6 billion for Bungie. I don't think Sony paid $3.6 billion to get an all-time concurrent peak of 88,000 players on Steam. We don't know what the concurrent player count looks like on console. Maybe it's better on console. I doubt it. They tweeted it? Wait, what? Did I really miss something? Hold on. Let me go check. Was it the official Resident Evil account? Checking now. I think you may have been bamboozled, man, because I'm on the official Resident Evil Twitter account now, and I don't see anything about that, about co-op. It's priced at $40 too. Yikes numbers. Well, I mean, that's the thing, man. If you look at something like Arc Raiders, and I mean, how many players did that get? Steam concurrent. So on Steam, Arc Raiders got a wow. There's 207,390 people playing Arc Raiders right now. So Arc Raiders is already still beating the brakes off of Marathon, but the all-time concurrent peak was 481,966 4 months ago. Marathon can't even get 100K. Can't even get 90K. I'm sorry, man, but like this is what I was afraid of. This is why. I just feel like Sony made such a big mistake buying Bungie, man. with no more PC money for what little it was, and Marathon maybe going to fail, who will take the hit studio-wise? Because it won't be Bungie. More layoffs, studios closing. It better be Bungie. But it should be Bungie. I mean, I don't know. I hope not. I hope not, man. This is just, this whole thing feels foobar. You know, it really does. Where it's like, I understand. I've talked about this so much, man, ad nauseum. Where like Sony does need to try to do something in the live service space, but they just seemingly don't know what they're doing. And that's the problem. Like, that's the big problem, that they don't know what they're doing. They still seemingly don't know what they're doing. And Helldivers 2 was just luck. I mean, you could make the argument that all live service game successes are luck, but the question is, if you're going to continue to do live service, what are the chances you get lucky again? Those chances are very, very low. I don't want to say all hope is lost, though. I mean, they already paid $3.6 billion for Bungie. They have them. I think the only hope that Sony has with Bungie is Destiny 3. I think Marathon's done, man. I mean, I'm not trying to be overly negative. Like, if you're somebody who's playing it and supporting it, I think it'll still be supported for a long time. But it's just not a hit game. It's not the big hit live service that Sony paid for. Sony didn't pay $3.6 billion to just have an okay game. A game that does, that's not what they paid for. They paid for something much bigger than that. I mean, at the very least, I'm sure Sony's happy it's not completely tanking, because it was looking spooky there for a little bit. But yeah, man, I just don't think that Marathon's player count right now, it doesn't look very promising. I don't think it instills a lot of confidence. I saw an interesting report here from Push Square that I want to go over with you guys real quick. We're discussing ways to improve Marathon. This is what they said. The dev is tweaking monetization and difficulty as the FPS fails to blow up. Like, there's already people getting annoyed at the way they're handling microtransactions. And I'm like, I have to seriously ask, like, does Bungie know what they're doing? I don't need a review for Wolverine knowing it's going to be great. I can agree with that. That says Marvel's Wolverine. Helldivers 2 is a fun flash in the pan game, not a long-term live service game. Still, Sony's chasing that Fortnite or Minecraft unicorn. Well, the thing is, I think Helldivers can be a long-term game, but it will never reach like Fortnite-type numbers. Like, let me go check. Helldivers 2 Steam concurrent players. Right now, there's 62,000 people on Helldivers 2. 69,000 peak. That's pretty good. Like, considering how old this game is. It's multiple years old. That's pretty good. So I think Helldivers are still doing well, but it's not like some kind of, I don't think it's a forever game. I think it's a long-term game. I think Helldivers 2 can go on for a few more years with relative success or just good success. I think that you're probably right that Sony might, I don't know, that's kind of the question, right? Like, is Sony still trying to chase that unicorn? I would hope not, man. It's like, do you guys understand by now that that's just not going to happen for you? And that's okay, because it doesn't happen for most publishers. And if you want to continue to try to throw stuff at the wall, you have to do it very sparingly, very far and few in between, I would say, where it just comes out of nowhere and it's like, we're throwing it up. Don't even pay attention to it. We're just hoping it becomes the next big thing. If it doesn't, okay, no big deal. Everything else is going well. And people will just move on like it never even happened. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one, man. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Sony wants that too. Like if you look at CS:GO, it's multiple decades old. I don't know what Sony's going to have to do to achieve that. I don't know if they can do anything. I just don't know that they're like they just may be in over their heads there, you know, where you can make amazing single player games and you can make a couple relatively successful live service games, but beyond that, I don't know that Sony's going to be the one to produce the next CS:GO, the next Fortnite, the next GTA Online, the next Minecraft. And you just have to wonder if they really believe they can do that. How bad is it going to get in between? Roblox has more players than any platform combined. It's stuff like that too. I'll tell you what, Dreams was probably Sony's best bet, and they completely squandered that. Dreams could have been something that became a platform of its own. But Media Molecule and Sony seemingly didn't know how to make it accessible enough, for a mass market. You don't think Marathon's bad? You just don't like the characters and the game looks too cheap for $40? MBG, I don't know if you talked about it, but the whole blank check thing has been denied. Yeah, we did mention that. We talked about that being debunked. Well, no, I mean, I'm saying Dreams acted as a kind of template of like the idea that you can create your own stuff. You know what I mean? Like that could have been over a long period of time really fleshed out and built into a meaningful platform where it's like Sony has built a very successful long-term live service game where people are building their own experiences. Because if you look at the most successful live service games, that's what they basically do. They let people create their own games within the game, and it becomes a platform. So I think like the concept was there from the beginning, but the execution and how to actually really turn it into a bigger thing just wasn't there. Run SOCOM back, make a great tactical single player mode with robust multiplayer. We have a shortage of tactical shooters right now. Why would Sony do that when they can just make, a Horizon Monster Hunter clone that looks like it's trying to be Fortnite? Like, that's what I mean. I feel like that's why doesn't Sony push for something like that? Sony wouldn't allow it to be used by the masses. People make money off Roblox. Sony would never allow that. And that, well, you might be right about that. And well, that's the irony though, too, right? Like if I'm not mistaken, Roblox still isn't profitable, right? Right? Like it's super successful in terms of it's got the players, it's got the numbers, the numbers are on its side for everything except I think they still haven't turned a profit. And the idea is, well, we will eventually, once it gets big enough. And it is continuing to grow, so there might be something to that. They might be able to make money off of it eventually. And the idea is once they do make money off of it, it'll be like a near infinite amount. Like it's kind of like the Netflix type situation. That's literally what Roblox is, a marketplace for people to use. Yeah. Yeah, seemingly. From what I've seen of it. 20 billion concurrent, bro. What? Roblox is nuts. Nuts. It's nuts. MBG, fried fish or fried chicken, which you prefer? God, I don't know. I mean, I like fried chicken. I like both a lot. I do like beer battered fish fillets, though. Those are amazing. And I feel like probably a little bit healthier for you. Just a little bit, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, fried chicken. What were we talking about? Oh, there was oh yeah, I wanted to read this article real quick. So it says here, from Push Square, Marathon is doing fine. It's certainly no Concord, like many predicted pre-release, but there is a big question emerging around whether it's doing well enough. While we don't have data for consoles like PS5, we can see that the extraction shooter peaked at 88,000 concurrent players on Steam at launch and has steadily been declining over the weekend. This isn't a high guard situation where the drop off was profound and immediate, more just a steady shedding of players from a high of 78K on Saturday to 73K on Sunday. It'll be interesting to see where it settles. These aren't bad numbers in isolation, but they may not be good enough for Bungie, an expensive prestige studio behind some of the biggest shooters on the planet. In an attempt to maintain its existing players and attract new ones, the Washington-based studio announced some incoming improvements overnight. First and foremost, it's making an alteration to the amount of Lux, which can be purchased with real money. This is the game's in-game currency used for microtransactions, and it was previously structured in such a way where $10 got you 1,100 Lux. The problem is most of the skins in the games cost 1,120 Lux, so you need to buy another pack, like the $5 bundle for 500 Lux in order to get one. Are they fucking serious? Bro, are they actually... There's no way. Like, you know what? They're just sabotaging themselves. They're just sabotaging themselves. Like, that right there tells me they were prepared for this game not to do well enough. Why would they do that? We need to get MBG to get back on the Blue Box conspiracy streams. It was crazy. I couldn't believe when I saw the article. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll check that article out, Chris. Remind me. There's an article about Abandoned. Why are we still here? Sony signed off on that? Dude, Sony probably... Well, actually, no, they probably didn't. Sony probably just let them do what they want in this regard. I just think that that's scummy, man. Like, come on. So, in case you missed what I said there, or what we read, if you want to buy a skin in Marathon, it costs you 1,100 Lux, which are just like the currency in the game. But apparently, most of the skins cost 1,120. They literally jacked it up by 10 more. So you got to do 2 microtransactions. Like, come on, man. Like, you barely have people on your side at all. That's too exploitative. I don't like that. See, that right there is why I don't like Bungie. Bungie needs to just go away. If Sony wanted to dissolve Bungie, I would be totally fine with that. And I don't know. It's just, anyway, let me finish reading this. It says, moving forward, $10 will now get you 1,120 Lux. So at least they're fixing it, but it's like, really, bro? Anyone who's already purchased one or more of these bundles will be refunded the appropriate amount. Okay. All right. All right. I'll give them credit on that. All right. I appreciate it. They're going to undo their mistake. But how? How do you step on a rake like that, man? I think it's because they're scared. I got to be honest, man. I think it's because they're like, bro, we see the pre-order numbers. We got to try to extract as much money from this as we possibly can. Because if there's one thing Sony is going to be looking at, Sony's not going to tell them how to do their microtransactions, but Sony is going to check their P&L. Absolutely. And be like, so, how's it looking? And yeah, if it's not looking good, Bungie might... I'm sorry, man, but there's no way Bungie doesn't produce a hit here and walks away unscathed. I refuse to believe that. They have 800 plus people at their studio. It's like by far the biggest PlayStation studio. There's no chance this game just does okay and is like soft. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Layoffs incoming? I think so. Unfortunately, I do think that might be what we're looking at because I don't see how it could end any other way. When we talk about Sony displacing it, like maybe we'll cut another studio instead. I doubt that. I think Sony understands how much Bungie has cost them, but they wanted to give them the chance with Marathon. Well, it says here, Bungie is also paying attention to the criticism of the cosmetics themselves. quote, "We want to ensure that when you spend in Marathon, you feel like you're getting great value and discussing ways to improve this experience," end quote. This is what a spokesperson said. While this is a paid premium release, it's also a live service game. It'll need positive post-release monetization in order to support ongoing development. And one of the issues the studio seems eager to address is its difficulty, which has basically ruled the release of casual rotations. It says an incoming update due out next week will bring the following changes: increased the distance objective nav points appear from 10M to 20M, increase the number of med cabinets and munitions crates that can spawn on perimeter, and increase the amount of starting ammo. Many have criticized Marathon for simply being too hardcore. As an extraction shooter, you're putting all of your loot on the line each time you attempt to run, and the game doesn't take any prisoners at all. It'll be interesting to see what kind of response the community has to this. Some have already embraced the changes, while others feel Bungie is already watering down the game's release. So, somebody leaves a comment saying, "Is the difficulty really an issue? I found Arc Raiders way more difficult than this. The bots can hit hard, but they are supposed to. This isn't the kind of game you can just go around running guns blazing." Well, yeah, I don't know. I still look, man. I'm not trying to be like overly negative towards PlayStation, especially because we've talked so much about it. But Marathon's out, and I think Bungie, no matter which way you slice it, ultimately will be seen as a failed purchase. That's the point of an extraction shooter element. Well, that's the thing, man. I think I'm getting a vibe from this. The vibe that I'm getting is I think they're panicking a little bit. Just a little bit. Not completely, but I get a feeling here that it's like it's not looking too good. Like you can kind of feel that, like, man, this game has a pretty small audience, and Sony spent a lot of money on you guys. You guys are over 800 developers, and there's, much, much smaller teams making the exact same type of game, beating the brakes off of you. I don't know. I think the only hope, like I said, is Destiny 3. And I'm sure Sony will keep Bungie around to at least ensure that happens. And maybe Destiny 3 could be the big, mega success story that Sony was hoping to get out of Bungie. But I don't know, man. Marathon, I think, is just... I don't want to say it's DOA. Like, I don't want to be hyperbolic about it. But just looking at the numbers, looking at the fact that they're already refunding people because they messed up with the microtransactions, I think this is a lost cause. And I'm not trying to discourage people who are playing it and enjoying it. Play it, enjoy it. Don't let my opinion sour anything that you're experiencing. I'm just giving my honest evaluation of the situation. And, we'll keep an eye on Marathon in the coming months. We'll see if it picks up or not, or if it just kind of, fades out. But we'll see. Well, yeah, BMed, I think the reason why Sony approved the purchase price for Bungie is because they were desperate. I don't think Sony made many panic purchases. I think most of the purchases they made were thoughtful, some misguided, like Firewalk, but they thought about it. They didn't just jump to it. I think Bungie, it's not a coincidence that the Bungie acquisition was announced literally like 2 days after the Activision Blizzard. Somebody at Sony, most likely Jim Ryan, panicked and was like, okay, we need to do this now, like right now. And I think that was the mistake of like not, because if you remember where Sony was at that time, Sony was terrified. When they heard that Microsoft was acquiring Activision Blizzard, they took that as, oh my God, we just lost Call of Duty. Like, we just lost dozens of games. You know, Sony was operating under the assumption that Microsoft's intention was to make these games exclusive. And I think, I don't know, I think Sony wasn't wrong, because if you remember, Phil Spencer called Jim and said, I'll give you a deal for 3 years. And that's, I think, when Sony was like, what? 3 years? Like, what are you trying to say? And yeah, I mean, a 3-year deal, I feel like pretty much tells you what they're trying to say. Now, they do have like a 10-year deal, but I think it's pretty clear that, you know, Microsoft, their intention is to not remove games from PlayStation. Jim Ryan said the Bungie acquisition was not a response to Microsoft getting ABK, but that was probably a lie. I think it's safe to say that was a lie. The craziest thing Jim Ryan said was how he believed the Bungie acquisition would prove to be more valuable than the Activision Blizzard. And I'm like, I think bro knows it's over. I think he knows I shouldn't have done that. It wasn't just Jim Ryan's fault, though. Like, the whole board of Sony greenlit it. So they messed up collectively by even letting that. Like, I can almost understand why Jim would panic and be like, we got to do this. But somebody should have been like, no, dude. Like, no. I see where you're coming from, but no. I agree. Oh, did I agree with Jim Ryan? I mean, I don't know. I was a bit, yeah, I was kind of in that zone at the time where I did believe, I'm like, yeah, this is a great acquisition. This could be great. But I was just, yeah, man, I was deluded, like, entirely. I'm not going to lie. I was deluded entirely because I guess it's because I was under, I guess, a similar impression that Sony was, where it's like, these guys are good, right? I mean, if you spent $3.6 billion, they must be good. You wouldn't just spend $3.6 billion and not know what you're getting, right? And that's where over time, I learned, like, oh my God, you did. You did. You didn't know what you were buying. You got finessed, bro. I'm only giving you a few more. Just a few. Whoa, why is that so unstable? Okay, that's too many. That's too many. For Destiny 3, they need a lot of time, resources, and new engine, so it's truly unique compared to Destiny 1 and 2. Well, I think at this point, I was Delulu. Yeah, pretty much. I think at this point in time, man. Come on, Clark. I think Sony probably should at least let Bungie go all in with Destiny 3. Can you not attack my hand? Thanks. Ow! Why? Why are you biting me? Nobody needs to see that, Clark. Get out of here. Sorry, he's distracting me. But yeah, I think at the very least, they should go all in with Destiny 3. Give them a chance. You know, there's a massive Destiny fan base, and as far as I'm aware, a lot of the Destiny fan base has been asking them to do that. They've been asking for Bungie to just, come on, like, forget Marathon. Let's just move on to Destiny 3. It will take a very long time, and I don't know how comfortable Sony would feel investing heavily into that. I think Sony should not go all in, per se. Like, by all in, I mean, like, you know, dump all their money and resource into it. They have to mitigate it, certainly, and they have to be strategic with how they manage Bungie going forward. But yeah, I think I don't think Marathon's going to do it for them long term. It's already looking like it's going to be very short lived. They need to just get moving on Destiny 3. That's my opinion anyway. But isn't Destiny 2 dead right now? Let me go check that. Destiny 2 Steam. Yeah, it's pretty dead. There's 10,200 players on it. I mean, I don't want to say dead, but compared to what it, where it was before, they had 11,000 players in its peak, 10,000 right now. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, like, dude, Bungie just feels like a shell. Yeah, Bungie feels like a shell of their former self. Like, I don't know what they're going to do other than just trying to have one last hurrah with Destiny 3. 11,000 more than Concord, I suppose. That's true. There you go. There's your optimism. Wait, Dan, you're saying I wouldn't speak on something you don't know? What are you referring to? What do you mean? Clark, dude, you need to stop like flashing my audience. Thank you. Oh, yeah, you're saying because they got rid of Pete and Sony's making them listen to feedback. Well, that's why I'm saying they should give them at least one more fair chance under new leadership. You know, people were pretty much celebrating when they got rid of Pete Parsons, and Marathon was greenlit many years ago, so maybe the new leadership can kind of reorient Destiny and listen to the like you're saying, listen to the feedback, listen to the fans, and create a version of Destiny 3 that people really want. That could be huge, but it's just a lot of ifs, and a lot of question marks, I suppose. All right, let me go check out this abandoned article real quick, though. And that'll probably be the last thing we talk about for today. That's so okay, so Push Square reports, oh no, not this nonsense again. 5 years after the abandoned incident of 2021, where Hassan Karaman basically made a fake game and tried to tie it to Silent Hill and Hideo Kojima to drum up interest, it still appears the creator wants to make some kind of abandoned game. Something called Abandoned Gospels of Blood has been spotted on Karaman's PSN profile, presumably for testing purposes. Will it ever come out? Of course not. But it looks like Karaman is still trying to make something happen. Abandoned first broke onto the scene in a mysterious PlayStation blog post that pretty much immediately sounded too good to be true. I still am perplexed how he got a PlayStation blog post. Just a day after its publication, conspiracy theories flooded the internet, liking Abandoned to Hideo Kojima and the Silent Hill series. After all, Kojima has pulled similar stunts with Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, as he originally revealed the game as something from Moby Dick Studio. Blue Box Game Studios, the team claiming to be making Abandoned, denied the theories at the time, stating it has no association with Hideo Kojima. It was just a small group of developers working on a passionate title we wanted to work on for a long time. A few months later, it leaned into the conspiracy theories by teasing that Abandoned was actually a Silent Hill game, which Kojima was linked to following the cancellation of Silent Hills. The team promised you to be able to see more of the game via the real-time app on the PS5. Oh my God, that's still there. Which was then delayed multiple times. It finally released a video teaser in August of 2021, which was the exact same trailer that had been posted to social media. At this point, the game basically disappeared and has never been heard from since, except for a claim of a prologue game releasing in early 2022 that obviously never happened. Now it appears creator Hassan Karaman still has ambitions to publish an abandoned game. Goddamn, dude. That's wild stuff. Seeing an article written in March of 2026 for Blue Box and Abandon. This is actually Hideo Kojima. Trust me. Guys, I think it might really be Kojima this time. People are pointing out how fast time goes by, though, which is true. Yeah, I can't believe it's already been like 5 years. Well, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not going to. I think we're not back. We're not back, Dan. We're not. I'm sorry. I know people want it to come back, but I don't know that this changes anything, you know? Ray's like, please, MBG, no. God, no, please. I still look back on it and I feel like something weird was going on. But I don't know. I don't know. It was fun. It was a good time. You want to talk about the epitome of being deluded? The epitome of being blinded by your delusion? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It would be awesome if he came out with Abandon and got a Game of the Year nomination, comeback story. That would be funny as hell. That would be so funny. It's like Abandon actually does come out. It's amazing. He's been grinding for like 5 years, bro. And somehow he gets Kojima to endorse the game. I don't know. That was so weird. You know, you know what I don't understand? I remember when I was like listening to Kojima, because Jeff Keighley asked Kojima on like his podcast or something about it. And Kojima was like, yeah, I don't know who this is. People just kept posting pictures of him, and I didn't know like what this was. Or I'm like, I don't know. Really, really, Kojima? You just you just every single post, people are posting these crazy pictures and like harassing you about it, but you don't know. You don't never heard of it. Like even when he's denying it, it sounds sus, right? Where it's like, okay, all right, yeah. But maybe he was just mad. It could be that. He's like, I ain't giving this guy no attention. Like, I don't know who? Hassan who? HK what? I don't think so, bro. Good stuff, man. Good times. Good times. Keely endorsed Hassan too. Dude, that was what really pushed it over. And I think, yeah, looking back on it, I think Jeff Keighley kind of endorsed. Well, he didn't like endorse it, but he was saying he'd love to have Hassan Karaman like at, so what was it, Summer Game Fest or something? And people lost their minds because they're like, oh my God, he's like confirming it. But I think in reality, looking back at it, you know, hindsight 2020, I think Jeff Keighley just saw that as like, this is a great marketing opportunity. Like, this is good for my show because he wants to grow Summer Game Fest. And that, you know, Occam's razor tells you that's absolutely what it was. But yeah, that obviously people are already assuming the Kojima connection. Like, I bet you that blog is still there. Let me go check. Let me go see if the abandoned blog. It's still there. How is this not fucking deleted? April 7th, 2021, Abandoned, a cinematic survival sim, hits PS5 later this year. Hassan Karaman, Blue Box Game Studios, game director. Hi, everyone. I'm Hassan Karaman from Blue Box Game Studios, based in the Netherlands. The team and I are working on a new title coming exclusively to PS5 this year, and I can't wait to show off some gameplay footage from the game in action. However, since the game is at an early stage of development, I wanted to announce the game today and show off in a little announcement teaser we made. God, man. The comments are closed. I'm looking at the comments. This looks great. Can't wait to see more. Hope they support VR. Announce a PSVR 2 version. Something is going on here. I'm just going to say this. Hi, Hideo. Kojima's rumored to go with Microsoft 2. Meanwhile, Sony's struggling with the concept of exclusives. Dude, looking back at these old comments is crazy. This absolutely reeks of Kojima. 100% this is a puzzle. No fun allowed. It feels like there's more to this. Wow, prepare to soil your pants, everyone. Yo, Prince G left that comment. Yo, Prince G, are you here right now? That's crazy. I'm on the PlayStation blog, and in Prince Groove, April 7th, 2021, under the Abandoned PS Blog says, wow, prepare to spoil your parents, everyone. That's crazy. Prince G was there. No, bro, I still have 3 hours to get to Tampa. Damn, I'm sorry, Whiskey. I mean, I could try to go for a little bit longer, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to just like, oh God, I don't want to get into complete rambling territory. Although you could argue the entirety of my stream is just rambling. I came back and heard abandoned. Uh-oh. Somehow it's returned. It's crazy though, looking at these you react to those streams one day unknown. Got to save that content. It's so funny to me. This game is in early development. Releases Q4 2021. Wait. Yeah, I don't know, man. Looking back on it, you really have to ask yourself, like, how was it able to? Yeah, everything is off. Even still, man. But I guess we do have to consider that this was like coming off of COVID. Maybe people were all messed up. No one really knew what was going on anymore. Everybody was in a weird headspace. It's quiet here when we don't have that chaos. Yeah, that was crazy, man. I will tell you though, like I don't know. Like looking back on it, it was weird how I really believed, bro. Like I legitimately believed. I was like to an unhealthy degree where I'm like it is Kojima. Like anybody who doesn't understand what we're looking at, I'm screaming at you. I'm telling you. But it made for some good entertainment, which was cool. But yeah, I don't think anything. Like if I'm a different person now, guys. I'm a different MBG than the MBG of 2021. And looking at this, I mean, I find it interesting that this guy is still around. I mean, in a public sense of like he's still on PlayStation Network. He still has all these people on his friends list. He made his name Sneaky Warrior, and he's still playing this game, whatever that he's been developing. So the funniest thing will be if it is just a real indie game. And I will say, man, like he does have a built-in audience. So like if this really is just still an indie dev that really was just trying to get something started and it ends up eventually becoming a thing, there will be people. Like we will be those people, and there will be others where it's like, I remember this shit. And it could be like the worst thing ever, but it'll just be the fact that like, yeah, I spoke to Hassan one time. Twice, I think. Well, one time on a chat, which was weird, and then a few times in message, but yeah, it was just weird. Like, I don't know. It felt like that. I probably should have realized at that point, like, bro, this ain't Kojima ain't ever gonna talk to you, bro. It was so weird. Yeah. To be honest though, like I probably sounded like a fucking crazy person to him though. No joke, because I remember when I was talking to him one time, I was trying not to be like pushy or anything, but keep in mind, I really believed at the time. I'm like, I know Kojima's there holding a gun to your head, bro. I didn't say that, of course, but I'm like, I know what this, like, I was like talking like, I know what you're doing. I know what's going on. And he was like, nah, man, like I'm really, he's like, I don't know, do you really want me to follow you on Twitter? And I'm like, you can if you want. He's like, you're going to be part of it, man. You're going to get roped into this. But that got me excited because again, I'm like, oh my God, like this is real. I felt like I was definitely over my skis, where there was no part of me that considered, like, what if it's not real? Like, what if you are going to get roped into this and it's just a bad thing, you know? But I wasn't thinking like that because, frankly, nobody was thinking like that. Hardly, here's the thing. Listen, the thing that I will never get over with this, that just still blows my mind today, is how, like, everyone got involved. Even Jason fucking Schreier got involved, dude. Where he, and I who was it that was it? I think I don't know if I DM'd Jason Schreier. I remember communicating with Jason Schreier one time where I was like, you were talking about this really like very briefly, but I was like, do you know what's going on here? And he's like, no, like I don't. It's like, your guess is as good as mine. And I'm like, there's got to be something going. Like, this is not normal. And I remember, like, he did Hassan Karaman did an interview with Colin Moriarty. You guys remember that one? And that was the one that for a lot of people, they felt like, oh yeah, like this isn't real. And, or like he has no idea what he's doing or saying. But there was just always something so weird about it, bro. Like, how is that possible? We all got slightly psyoped. I mean, that's pretty much what it feels like, Titus, where I'm like, how did everybody? I'm like, this guy, there's no way this guy isn't a fucking pro. Like, you're telling me he's just some, like, I don't know, man. I just stumbled into it, and I literally wrapped the entire industry around my finger for like a little while there. And I guess it's like, yeah, crazier things have happened, I suppose. And it's certainly possible, but I'm like, that's something like that hasn't happened since. And I don't really recall anything like that happening before, except for when Kojima did his fake studio Moby Dick thing. So, reminiscing on it a little bit here, I still can't get over. I'm like, bro, it is still difficult to believe that there wasn't something more going on here. I'm not saying it was with Kojima per se, but just like, that's a crazy turn of events. Like, it is literally hard to believe. Boss, get down from there. You're gonna turn off the internet, bro. That's where my modem is. But it was fun times. It was crazy. It felt like we were all, we were getting psyoped. We were in like a fever dream or something. But nobody could really trace anything. And I remember, like, one of the final theories I had, which I think, it's safe to say it's turned out completely wrong. One of the final theories I had, though, was like, it was like how I started to think, like, what if like Kojima was actually involved in this to some degree? The necklines, yeah, never forget the necklines. But I remember just thinking, like, it went really, like, it actually got taken too far, and he had to basically, like, yeah, nobody can ever know about this. Like, I'm not involved with this, okay? It kind of started to feel that way a little bit because I don't know. There were a couple moments there, man, where it's like, if this isn't something more, somebody's going to burst the bubble. And the bubble never really burst, dude. It just kind of slowly deflated. Where, like, at the end of the day, it's like, so what did we get out of this? And it's like, nothing. Except what you were promised. Which ultimately was, you were promised something called the abandoned real-time experience. And that's what you got. And that right there, my mouth just made a really, see, you could almost feel it coming back, Like, you can feel it, where I'm like, that's what drives me nuts, is we did get what they said they were going to deliver. Like, they ultimately did deliver. It's like, what are you making? We're making the abandoned real-time experience. And it's like, what is that? It's like it's a game. It's an action game. Maybe it's a stealth game. I don't know. It's whatever you want it to be. And there was just this crazy like vibe around it of like it did ultimately turn into something. And it was exactly that. It was an abandoned real-time experience. And I remember the thing that really, I'm like reminiscing now completely on this. I remember Summer Game Fest 2021. I lost my shit because Kojima did show up and he was like on the screen being interviewed by Jeff Keighley. And I was hanging on to every word Kojima said because I'm like, this was in the thick of the abandoned conspiracy. And one of the things he was saying is he was like talking about, he's like making a new game, and it'd be like if an alien like walked into your home or something like that. And he was insinuating that, times are changing too fast. And when he makes his games, he tries to make something that is really like pertinent to the time. But he's had to like rewrite stuff because it's all happening too fast. And I remember I was just like freaking out. I'm like, that's you, Kojima. I know you're doing it right now. You're doing some kind of social experiment. And that's the whole point, is you're capturing it in the moment. And I was really, I was full send, bro. I believed 100% that this was the real deal. And, I wasn't alone. I wasn't alone. That was the big thing too, is there were certain times where I started to think like, am I losing it? Like, am I a psycho now? Not a psycho, but it's like, am I really like truly out of touch at this point? But then I saw like there were so many people who were like, nah, bro. Like, no, this, we're right there with you. Like, this seems like the real fucking deal. And I'm like, yeah, right? Like, I'm not crazy. And people are like, no, you're acting crazy, but what you're, I'm so crazy. Oh, thank you. Got more treats. Well, I know I'm crazy, but everybody else was starting to go crazy too. Everybody else was starting to go crazy over the abandoned. That was fun. Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it really was, now it's pretty much all said and done. I guess it really was just something that this person stumbled into something. Looking back at the original PlayStation blog, Abandoned, a cinematic survival sim, hits PS5 later this year. Looking back at it, it is so funny to think that this was legitimately just an indie dev, small indie team that were trying to hype up their game. And people, for some reason, they just immediately thought, like, you're Kojima. Like, you're not fooling us. And they didn't really know what to do with that other than, I guess we should use that. Funny shit, man. Abandoned will be out the day the PlayStation 6 launches. Yeah, it's going to be a launch title, a launch exclusive. Did we say PS5 exclusive? We meant PS6. Very strange. Very strange. I want to point this out too. And this is like one other thing I want to mention is that couldn't happen today. I dragged everybody into my psychosis. Absolutely. If you think about it, where we are now with AI and stuff, like there's no chance that could have happened. Well, all right, let me put it this way. It would have been a lot worse. Like, everybody would have been completely convinced that Hassan Karaman was an AI. I remember people were saying that at that time, where every time he would post a video of him on camera or do an interview, people were like, he's an AI. But in 2021, like that, AI wasn't really, it's not what it is now. It didn't have that exponential growth yet. If something like that happened now, it would be over. Like, everybody would be convinced, like, Hassan Karaman's an AI. Like, all of this is AI. This is some kind of AI psyop or some shit. And that would have been Very interesting. Abandoned MBG Sherlock was crazy times. Yeah, that was crazy. But it was fun. It was fun because I really felt like I was actually trying to solve something. Like we're gonna crack this case, boys. It's like, yeah, but you might not like what you find. Anyway, where are we at here? All right. I went a little bit over the time that I was planning. So guys, I think this will be a good place to wrap it up. You know, some reminiscing with Abandoned. But yeah, so before I head out with my outro here, it's like I told you guys, I got a busy week coming up. I'm going to try my best. I mean, I have to. It's like my job, but there's going to be interference. So just make sure your notifications are turned on. All right. This week is probably also going to be a bit chaotic. I'll keep you guys up to date, obviously, but I'm looking forward to when things settle in a bit and I can get back to my normal routine. Because I'm struggling with this, with streaming at different times and stuff. It's messing me all up, but it's only temporary. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. But before I head out, I want to thank you guys so much for all the support today. If you dropped any memberships, got to give a shout out to Michael Werneth. He dropped like 24 members. He pretty much crushed the majority of the goal for us today. So thank you, Michael, for the support, man. And thank you to anybody who dropped any super chats or any direct donations. I'm fully fan funded, sponsorship free. I can only do what I do here because you guys make it possible. So thank you all so much. Just make sure you hit that like button. Thought you were streaming later now. Well, that's the thing. Today, I didn't have to stream later. So I'm just streaming at my normal time. This upcoming week, there might be some more later streams. But you guys will know when that's over, by the way, because I'll put it to you this way. When you see when my background is completely different, then we'll be back to our normal schedule, okay? But as long as you continue to see this background, you'll know that we're not there yet. So that'll be the easiest way for you guys to know without me telling you. But all right, guys, yeah, make sure you hit that like button. I also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for the stream. If you guys see Devil Shooter in the comments with those timestamps, give him some thanks. Yeah, I can't wait to see my Xbox Helix background. It's gonna be amazing. Green lights everywhere. My Phil Spencer shrine. It's gonna be great. But all right, yeah, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I will catch all of you in the next one, which I don't know if that's gonna be tomorrow. It may or may not be. If not, hopefully Tuesday. Okay, so again, make sure notifications are turned on. And that's it. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. I will catch you in the next one. Till then, take care, everyone.